97.5 FM, MCTV, WBHM, the voice of rock, and Fun Radio. Sponsored by Newsday.
Every word, every line, every paragraph depicts a real moment in someone's life. A father, a sister, a mother, a brother. We at Newsday are dedicated to you, the people, and through independent, unwavering journalism, strive to always bring your stories to life. Because your stories are more than just words. Newsday, independent and credible.
What goes in is a local something that makes it all taste better. It's the flavor of our culture. Come from here, come from there, and everywhere. It's the special flavor that's made us savor at the Royal Castle. Oh, come the Royal Castle. Royal Castle. Flavor to the bone. Royal Castle. Taste the very own. Royal Castle is the local something that makes it all taste better. Taste the unique flavor of our culture at Royal Castle.
Slave and suffer, but that can't work. To be poor is a crime. Man, I feel know that in this your time. Oh, yeah, man, please. What if they treat it hard? Poor people fed up.
Let's say good afternoon to each and everyone. Blessing. Welcome to U97.5 FM, douglAR Radio, hot like pepper. Of course, today you were expecting to hear the voice of the Honorable Senator, the heavyweight champion Anil Roberts, but circumstances beyond his control today that popped up, he would not be able to be here until Wednesday. Alright, so I'm your host Victor Roberts. Continue to sit in for the heavyweight champion. Today, ladies and gentlemen, welcome each and every one of you. Today, ladies and gentlemen, of course, it's not a good day as usual within the health sector. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now faced with a situation, and I believe that situation existed for a while, where the health sector have no medicine to fight this deadly virus that we call the coronavirus. Today, ladies and gentlemen, one of my wife family is sitting in a Point Fortin facility, and to our dismay, ladies and gentlemen, we had to send someone to pick up a prescription, where we had to go to the pharmacy to seek to purchase the necessary medication to give my wife family some chance of surviving this COVID-19 virus. Today, ladies and gentlemen, I want to again call out Terence Bialsing. I want to call out the Prime Minister of this country. I want to call out the CMO. I want to call out Abdul Richards. And I want to call out all those CEO who the government place in these positions to manage the affairs of our citizens who continue to die as a matter of fact, for a lack of medication. We have seen, ladies and gentlemen, where our statistics show that there is sometimes 800-900 positive cases on a daily basis. And yet, while we have that extremely high number of infection on a daily basis, today we are boasting that we have 77 ventilators, which will have to facilitate every one of these facilities, including Tobago. And yet we have a government who, according to records, have taken out so much amount of money from the Heritage and Stabilization Fund in order to purchase equipment to fight this deadly pandemic. And today in our nation hospitals, we are faced with absolutely no medicine. Koki, I said when you walk out the room a while ago, yes, that my wife family is sitting in a Point 14 facility. Yes. And today we had to go and pick up a prescription by the security guard. Yes. Source the necessary medication and then return it with a name tag at the guard's station in order for some sort of relief, some chance of survival, yes, to be given to that individual who now lies on a bed in Point 14.
Tell you what, we have to say a prayer.
Brother, what is going on in our country? Prayer. I saw today that one of the dailies, yes, they are calling for an investigation into the amount of COVID-19 deaths. Yes. And they are saying that someone needs to be held accountable. I remember that same daily newspaper, yes, took umbrage when I deliver a coffin to the house of Terence D.L. Singh in objection, highlighting, demonstrating, yes, symbolizing the number of COVID-19 deaths, which is unacceptable in our society. That same papers today, they are now calling for some kind of forensic investigation in relation to the high numbers of COVID-19 death in our society. You see, that is what happens, yes, when death reach at your door. That is what happens when the calling of death comes close to your loved ones. That is what happened, ladies and gentlemen, when the shoes now sits on your feet. That is what happened. I have protested the unprecedented amount of deaths, which I am certain is as a result of the facilities not outfitted with the necessary life-saving gears. We have seen in the same Point 14 hospital where at one time that the nurses, they were complaining that there were no PPE, that they had to wash, rinse and dry from face masks come back in order to have a chance to protect themselves from this deadly virus. Ladies and gentlemen, I have seen on social media for the past couple of weeks, Corky, that people now debating what is happening and why Terence speaking about ivermectin and why they want to use other experimental drugs and they continue to deliberate. I want to say to Trinidad and Tobago that the time for the deliberation and discussion, that time have since expired. The time has come where people in this country must stand up to remove the policymakers. Because in order to change the policy, ladies and gentlemen, you have to change the policy makers. You have seen Donna Cox, Ministry of Social Development, failure. You have seen Minister of National Security, Hines, failure. You have seen the Minister of Health, failure. You have seen the Minister of Energy, failure. You have seen the Minister of Works and Transport, failure. You have seen the Minister of Utilities, failure. You have seen the Attorney General, failure. You have seen the Prime Minister, failure. You have seen it all, Trinidad and Tobago. You have experienced it all. You have seen it all. You have experienced it all. And I'm saying today, Trinidad and Tobago, I am calling you to mass demonstration throughout this country, sending that signal of objection to the state of affairs in your country. I am calling on you, Trinidad and Tobago, to demonstrate in every corner, in every community, in every village, in every constituency, in every borough, in every city. You must stand up. You must rise up. You must demonstrate your dissatisfaction with this administration, demanding fresh elections be called in our society to save your country from the doom destination that has been prepared by this administration, where the future of your children, where the future of your grandchildren, where the future of your unborn babies lies in this country, ladies and gentlemen, for doom and more doom. We must stand, and we must stand strong, and we must stand fervent. We must stand without being shaken. We must stand with a strong disposition to ensure that in our country, ladies and gentlemen, that our citizens have that chance to live. We just cannot continue anymore under this administration. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not a time to speak of race. This is not a time to segregate as a result of religious beliefs. This is not a time for ethnicity to prevail in any one quarter. This is a time where we as a people must stand and stand strong, stand united, stand to fight this battle, not with guns and bombs, but to fight this battle with one voice, the voice of democracy, the voice of unity, the voice of the people must be the voice that the government listen to. We have had enough, ladies and gentlemen. Every situation that we look into in our country spells disaster. I was coming up the highway, Corky, and stuck in traffic for a while because of gunplay between police and bandits. High daytime on the nation highway and byway. This is what this country now face under the leadership of a government who is responsible for the crime situation and the crime escalation. I said last night on Facts Not Fiction, Corky, that do you believe that the government cannot put a handle on this crime situation?
Why?
The government have all the intelligence agency. The government, they are quite aware of the perpetrators. They know who have the guns in this country. They know who have the high power automatic weapons in this country. You believe that the government don't know? But they use the crime situation to push us further in a corner so that we can be committed to them as the government. They utilize the crime situation to even control us, the law-abiding citizens. This is the state of affairs in our country. Ladies and gentlemen, when you have the hospital, the place that every individual who land there expect to be treated for whatever ailment that may occur from time to time. We know for a fact, Corky, that age comes with sicknesses. And we expect that when we go to the nation's hospital, that our taxpayer dollar will benefit us, not in cash, but in medicine, to help us with our ailment, to give us a chance to live, or even to give us a chance to be comforted, sometimes within the realms of pain that we feel from time to time. And when we land in the hospital today and we recognize that there is no medicine to treat our citizens, that tells you that the health sector have finally collapsed under an incompetent Terence Dial Singh and an idiot as a prime minister in this Twin Island Republic.
Sad.
And I say that without any form of apology. The health sector collapsed And whether you want to be the one to condemn or you want to be the one to support, that is a matter for you. But the reality and the facts will show you that the health sector in our country now collapse, and therefore we must ensure that we take the necessary measures to give our citizens a chance. But how would this happen, ladies and gentlemen? You believe this will happen by your comments on social media? You believe that this will happen by speaking with your neighbor? You believe that this will happen when you take your phone and you make some sort of negative comment? You believe that this will happen, ladies and gentlemen, when you sit in your homes and you say to yourself that I'm not going out there because the virus is like a wildfire spreading through every city in our country? That is not the solution, my people. The solution to this problem is to remove this government by calling for fresh election now. I make no qualms about that. This government needs to go as early as yesterday. We cannot have a bunch of incompetent individuals who borrow so much money, billions of dollars, and when you ask a question, Keith Rowley will say to you that we have spent $300 billion on the pandemic. That is what the Prime Minister said to us, Cocky. He said they spent $300 billion behind the affairs of this pandemic. Is this government for real? Is this government, ladies and gentlemen, serious? But you see, all you is to blame. Let me take this one. Welcome, caller.
Oh, you lost that one. 218-7762.
Let me tell you something.
Yes.
All you is to blame, you know. When Faris Alwari and Keith Rowley came to the parliament and removed the procurement regulator, all you sit idly by, all you said nothing, all you do nothing. So what do you expect from the health sector today? More than nothing. That is what all you did, while the opposition were up and about and calling for the support of this country to say no to the scrapping of that procurement legislation. I saw the Aboods now speaking about procurement.
Yes.
Welcome, caller.
Good evening, how are you?
I'm fine. Welcome.
I just like to say that not only the health centers and all, the pharmacies who doing the feed-up, not getting the medication, right? The government not selling it to the various pharmacies who doing the feed-up.
Oh.
So we have to run here and there looking all about for the feed-up medicine.
Cookie, you hearing? You hearing what happening? Thank you, caller.
Okay, you're welcome.
So the caller is saying that no longer they could get that medicine from the pharmacy. The question is why, Terence? Welcome, caller.
Buster.
Why Terence Singh? Corky, I tell you that this
Yeah.
welcome caller.
Welcome, Victor Roberts and Corky. Good evening.
Good day, sir. Good day. Good day.
I had to jump in, boy. I had to
Jump in.
See what that lady said about SIDA?
Uh-huh.
I know somebody personally who had gone about 15 times with a prescription with the Javelin Thomas NCRHA. And you know what they had to stand? We have none. Check around. We have none. I tell you that. I'm telling you, I have the visual evidence for that. Terrence the Terrible is a failure. A failure. And this whole government failing. And I don't want to change the topic because I have plenty things on the chest I want to get off. I jump in, but I had to just come in right away to just confirm what that lady saying.
Thank you.
It's true. Okay.
Thank you, caller. And what the caller is saying is factual, you know. Welcome, caller.
Yes, Silver Fox here.
Silver Fox, the man. Corky, look at part now, boy.
The Fox.
Corky, look at part now, boy.
Oh, yes, man.
Yes, man.
Yes. It is time. It is time, Trinidad and Tobago, for Keith Christopher Rowley to exit office.
Yes, sir.
It is time for them to go. We cannot sit down no more waiting for what? For Santa Claus to come?
No, man. No, we're not
Right?
waiting anymore.
Just imagine they applaud the health sector workers, the frontline workers, and give them a clap for a good job. And now you're telling me you're sending these same people home, right? Because of a job that is not recognized as a vaccine. Keith Christopher Rowley and his government are hypocrites. They are hypocrites. Is a pack of hypocrites running this country, and they have to go.
Fox, I want to ask you a question.
Yes.
How long again would we put up with this incompetent government? Fox, see if you could help Trinidad to let them know that they had to hit the streets.
Trinidadians are cowards. Trinidadians are cowards. All they go for is commerce. Commerce after commerce. They are cowards. They will criticize me and not criticize Rowley, who having them in all this pain here today. I is the man they will come at. Right?
Wow.
I am the man they will come at, and they will go to the source of the sickness. Right? But I am telling you here today, Terence Singh, you see how much people dying when the day come? We have to shorten your time in office now. It's time for you to go now. And when you go, we're going to lengthen all the time in prison.
Yes, sir. Yes,
We're
sir.
going to lengthen all the time in prison.
Fox, see if you could talk some sense to Trinidadian. See if you could tell Trinidadian to understand.
Follow your sister Tobago. You all have to stand up for something. Stand up for something. We can't fold our arms and on our lips. That is when he was in ABC.
Yeah.
Right now we are university graduates.
Yes, sir.
Stand up and stand up. Stand up, and you have the power to put these people out. These people have to go. There will be no longer Trinidad and Tobago. Will be Trinidad and Venezuela. Maduro, what the name?
Maduro.
Maduro. Trinidadians, get up. Stop the talking and fighting one another saying that is not the time for this. We have to fight back, band with belly, and go for the goal. We could make goal in Trinidad and Tobago.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Fox, boy. Fox. I welcome you. Your call every time, anytime, Fox. Anytime, every time, Fox. Help Trinidad to understand what we are faced with in this country. Welcome, caller.
Right. I settled myself a back inside Corky and a back inside Victor.
Yeah.
The beatum has clapped back. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They want the Palm City Rasta to visit them. They want him to take a swim in the cesspool they have there.
Yeah.
You know they have a sinkhole?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they build in swimming pool all over, they build a cesspool for Beatum. But Beatum clap back. Beatum L listening to him. You remember when 3 or 4 of them went up somewhere in East Port of Spain and they tell them they behave nice, unlike other people, what they are alluding to down in Barataria, not Barataria, down in Barrackpore, where they were
Michelle Benjamin, yeah.
And they sent Suka. I hope Suka was there in the Beatum, you know, to tell us what and how many of them going down, because Tojam Jacob Carr say he used the discussion there, you know, and he didn't use the discussion in Barrackpore, you know. We will know what kind of hat he's wearing and what badge he have on his chest.
Brother, I think we already know that. I think we know what hat he wearing, what badge he wearing. Brother, what I want to tell you here right now at this point is that we have no more time in this country for old talk. Now it's time for action. See how you could tell this country. Listen me, caller.
That is why I say.
Listen me. See how you could wake this country up. See how you could wake up Beatum. It ain't no about no one night, one day stand again. Time for that done. This is a government that have to go now. See how we could help them to understand that for me.
Let me tell you what we have to do now.
Go ahead.
We not only one protest in one area, right to Trinidad. We have to mobilize at every pocket where we could show them we are rising up. That is what we have to do.
Tell them,
you
tell them, don't afraid, tell them.
We have to have them like a headless chicken. They wouldn't know where to go, because one pocket of resistance in the east, one pocket of resistance in the west, one in south, many in Tobago, one in the east, one in the west. That is how we have to do. We got to beat them in the west, beat them in the east, beat them in the south, beat them in central, beat them in Tobago. That is how we could put on running boots for the vaccine we got.
Thank you, Kola.
Yeah, man.
Kola, listen this. I almost to the point to lead the resistance, you know. All right. I almost to the point to lead the resistance, you know. All right. Welcome, Kola.
Cascade on the line.
Yes, Cascade.
Man, you see Honolulu in the water from since earliest day. No water. And you want to wash your hand, sanitize, do everything. You can't flush toilet, you can't flush nothing, you can't do nothing.
Well, let me flush the PNM. Cascade, let me flush the PNM. Them is who we had to flush.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Go ahead.
Become stand up. Honolulu had a protest, you know. Honolulu had a protest for water. Become stand up. Today, become stand up. And the police is going to hold all who take part in the protest. So you see, the Beatum had to come out now in protest of the police holding them brothers and them for their own health, because nothing is the health they're protesting for in the Beatum, you know, because so alive and could cause cholera within the community. These people have to come out now and support these brothers who is going to be arrested, because the acting commissioner say he's going to send warrant and hold them. So the people of the Beatum have to come out and support.
Why the acting commissioner ain't send warrant and lock up all of them who recuse themselves, lock up all of them who buy property in Tobago, lock up all of them who didn't declare? Why he send warrant on them? It's an investigation going on so long with a sitting member of parliament, a government minister, with a bank transaction. Why he send warrant for them? We have an investigation with A&V going on. Why? Look.
This is why we have to stand up.
Boy.
We have to stand up. We have to stand up. You see where it starts? We have to bring that to the parliament around the Red House. Not by the courthouse, you know. Not by the courthouse when they hold them, you know. We want to go by the parliament. And the parliament, they must see away from the parliament inside the courthouse. So you have to free them. You got to free them. because they're standing up for their rights. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. This is no game thing, you know. We don't know what's going on with this acting commissioner of police, you know. We don't know what's going on, you know. All who want to play dumb, deaf, and blind is a matter for them. But we don't know that what does take place with this political appointment. We don't know. Don't feel we know. This is the time that Trinidad have to make history. We must call for a fresh election yesterday. Not today and tomorrow, you know. Yesterday. We must take the necessary legal action to call an election with this incompetent bunch of idiots that we have running this country. Every area fail. I deal with Donald Cox yesterday, you know. I deal with she yesterday. Want to take back people food card, Cocky. Want to pull back food card. Trying a problem that them create. Trying to blame the citizens because we have 31,784 people. This government caused over 100,000 people to lose their job. Within the next 2 months, that 31,000 will move to 91,000 who dependent on a food card to put food on the table for the children. This is what's going on. Cocky, let me take the break. This is what happened. Let me go to the break and we'll be back.
Yes.
Fresh Street Market, your neighborhood supermarket.
Number 3 Andrew Lane, corner Churchill Roosevelt Highway and Andrew Lane, Derby, Mousica.
Opening hours.
Saturday 7:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m.
Sundays 8 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. When you think about fresh produce and good quality food, come to Fresh Street Market, your neighborhood supermarket.
Number 3 Andrew Lane, corner Churchill Roosevelt Highway and Andrew Lane, Derby, Mousica.
My parents' generation grew up with Royal Castle. From the first restaurant in 1968, when that distinctive, tempting aroma hit the air, they just couldn't resist. And like never before, fried chicken with a special blend of local seasonings and a one-of-a-kind flavor down to the bone. Today, Royal Castle still have that same delicious taste, and I love it too. The kids can't resist it either. Plus, they have more to enjoy. For me, the castle is more than just nice food. It's we own, part of me and you, and is the real flavor of TMT.
Le Grand Coulon Spa Resort at Stonehaven Bay, Blackrock. Bed and breakfast rates available. To book, call 283-2597 or 463-2946. Le Grand Coulon Spa Resort at Stonehaven Bay, Blackrock. Island Hobbies, Ryson Road, Port of Spain has the largest variety of toys in the Caribbean and South America. No one can beat our prices. If you see it cheaper anywhere else, prove it and we will beat it. We're open every day till late, Sunday to Sunday, even on Christmas Eve till 11 p.m. Island Hobbies, Ryson Road, Port of Spain. Even Santa buys toys from us.
Toys.
Come to the Waves Restaurant and Bar, Grafton Beach, Blackrock, Tobago. Great ambience, fantastic prices, all COVID protocols observed. Full premium bar available. Call Waves at 731-4646 to make your reservation. Come dine with the Waves Restaurant and Bar, Grafton Beach, Blackrock, Tobago. You must be vaccinated to dine in.
douglAR Radio is now on U97.5 FM Hot Like Pepper Multicultural Radio. Monday to Friday, 6:15 p.m. to 9 p.m. with Anil Roberts. Bringing you the facts on politics and up-to-date information. Also taking your calls on 218-7762. douglAR Radio on U97.5 FM Hot Like Pepper Multicultural Radio, 6:15 p.m. to 9 p.m. Monday to Friday.
Get ready for the revolution. Come on, what you say?
Sponsored by Royal Castle.
What goes in is a local something that makes it all taste better. It's the flavor of our culture. Come from here, come from there, and everywhere. It's the special flavor that's made us savor at the Royal Castle. Oh, Down the Royal Castle.
Royal Castle.
Flavor to the bone.
Royal Castle.
Taste your very own.
Royal Castle is the local something that makes it all taste better.
Taste the unique flavor of our culture at Royal Castle.
Don't free my hands and leave my mind in chains. No, 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 no. Don't say I'm free and you still washing my brain. Don't you do it? To do the things that you want me to. I've got a mind of my own. I'm gonna do what I want to do. 'Cause I'm a warrior and I'm a fighter for what I stand for. And that's my total freedom. See, I'm a warrior and I'm a fighter, and I'm gonna fight on for my total freedom. Yeah. Oh yeah, alright. My song, your song, you like it. Would you come and sing along? Yeah. Oh yeah, alright.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. And this is what the fight is about. Our freedom, freedom of choice, freedom of expression, freedom of religion, freedom, freedom, freedom. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a friend in Palo Seco. And that friend went to the hospital last week. And he went for them to draw some blood so that they can run some tests in relation to some kidney stone and other little problems that my friend have. Lo and behold, when my friend went to San Fernando General, Corky, and they take that syringe and draw out that whole syringe of blood, only to realize that there is only one vial.
What?
One vial to put that blood in. And so they had to say to him, sir, at least the nurse was honest, sir, we sorry, but we does not have any more vials to put the samples of blood so that the 3 tests that is required would be able to be facilitated. Crocky, that man had to leave the hospital and go privately and pay $500 to take out a next set of blood out of his body to be placed in 2 other vials which the San Fernando General Hospital did not have. Vials to place blood samples to send to the lab to be tested. That is the unbelievable state of affairs in our health sector. You heard a caller just call and said that they cannot source the necessary drugs. My brother Corky, today my wife family had to come to Central from Point 14 after checking numerous amount of drugstore to get those drugs, they had to come to Central, where they were able to get it at a drugstore. What is happening? And you want to know why we are experiencing so many deaths? You want to know why we are experiencing 30, 37, 25, 18, and all kind of double figures? You want to know why? What do you need again, Trinidad and Tobago? You need some kind of microscope to see what you are seeing in broad daylight, that you have a government that is incompetent, a government who does not have a clue as to direct this country out of the pandemic. They does not have a clue as to at least have the necessary medicine available, after they claim that they spend billions of dollars on this pandemic. Today our loved ones continue to die for a lack of medicine, for a lack of ventilators, for a lack of professionalism, and we sitting idly by and taking that cookie.
Can't take that. Unacceptable, man.
Cookie. And we still have people in this country who want to utilize the failure of this administration, utilize race and utilize politics for a situation that is totally devastating and out of control.
Unbelievable.
Welcome, caller.
Hello, good day.
Good day, sir.
Yes, I want to find out. I always ask myself this question. If the government ministers are taking this vaccine, because I can't understand for the life of me how long he's still alive. I see that he take two and we take a booster too. Right? How them had nothing happening to them at all. We know for sure Van Manning must be to take it. You understand? Because he was in quarantine and he was in hospital or whatever it is. But how come we only pass away yet? Seeing that he takes vaccine, I can't understand this at all. We would like to see a genuine certificate of their own, you know, to show the public that they vaccinate. You understand? Although they could get a false thing, but you know, we have to make sure that they really take the vaccine, because I can't understand how long a big old 70-something-year-old man ain't dead yet, right? That would serve the country real good. Have a good day.
Oh Lord, caller. Caller, you played brutal, boy. You played brutal, caller, boy. Brutal. Caller talking mine. Ladies and gentlemen, I am saying that something drastically wrong in this country. What we waiting on again to take the necessary legal, lawful action to have this government removed? What we waiting on again? That is what I trying to understand. I fed up our social media talk. I fed up. Koki, I'm gonna tell you something.
Yes.
I ain't all fed up talk.
Yes, man.
I ain't all fed up talk.
Yes, man.
Fed up. Because it looked like I would talk my life out.
Fed up on the same thing.
Over and over.
Yeah.
Over and over. And all we doing is just talking. Everybody have a solution. Everybody know what to do. But nobody want to do it. Welcome, caller.
Good night, Corky. And
good evening, sir.
Mr. Robert inside again. And I'm feeling sorry, and I hope he get well soon. Marvin Gonzalez, the mob man. You know, I really feel he's hiding from the beaten people, you know. And he's using that as an excuse to quarantine and not to face the music and to dive in the swimming pool. They will have him dive in, you know. He and the Pump City Rasta are gone. Have a nice night.
Thank you. Brother, we want them to quarantine out of government. Quarantine out of leadership. Quarantine out of mismanagement. Quarantine out of misappropriation of funds. Quarantine in the prison. There is where I want to be able to talk like Shamfa and say, nobody live there. Nobody live there. They all are in prison for negligence, for mass destruction, for misbehavior in public office, and for mass murder. That is what I want to hear. All the talkers in this country, all the jokers, them labor leaders, a bunch of jokers. And when I tell you a bunch of jokers, I'm talking about a bunch of real jokers. All the religious leaders who you can't hear the voice. But 2010 was like a carnival for them. They was masquerading themselves all over social media, all over print media, all over electronic media. If you hear them, like a sermon upon sermon. Yes. What happened to them today? Today, when some of all your church members dying because of an incompetent administration, some of all your church members never get the opportunity to live because of poor outfitting of the health sector, where earlier it seems as though that some of these church leaders, they have now become the Trinidad and Tobago Adam. They hiding in the congregation. I know as a little boy going Sunday school, Corky.
Yes.
We used to sing our song, Adam in the garden, hiding,
yes.
hiding, hiding. Adam in the garden, hiding from the Lord. Today, Corky, we had them church leaders hiding behind the pulpit. You know why? Because Keith Rowley, yes, the Prime Minister, gave them what is called a hush grant. You see that hush money that they collect? Who collect 300,000? Who collect 500,000? Who collect $750,000? All that money that they collect as grant, behind that note, it had hush all your mouth. They quiet in the church. Church leaders, I want to tell all you something today. All you go answer, you know. Boy and girl, all you will pay for that deception. You see that few dollars that all you get from this government, and all you're seeing with citizens dying, and all you have nothing to say. Boy, the devil won't forget all you in that pit of fire. That same pit that all you just preach and tell we to repent about. I'm calling on all you today. to repent from all your wicked, dumb ways and come out and speak the truth and help us to get a government who cares about the citizen, a government who cares about the life of our citizens. All your church leaders, all you will pay a heavy price. All you will be beaten with many stripes because the love of money have all you dumb and quiet. That is what this country now have for church leaders. People who see the dollar before they even see their own members. Wicked. Wicked. That is what some of you, that is what some of all you are. Wicked. Wicked leaders who will not see God's face. Because let me tell you something. The book speaks about the love of money is the root of all evil. The book never say money is the root, you know. The book say the love of it. You see how I like to save it up in the church building? You see when they come and they break the doors, how they finding millions stashed here. And when they break some of the walls, Cocky, one of my friends tell me the other day, they're doing some renovation by a pastor house, and they're going to break a wall to make a room bigger.
Yeah.
But you talk about blue money. You talk about blue money. That is what they reach to and sell to some idiots as religion. That is what it reached to. But let me tell all you can't fool Victor Roberts. You know why? Because Victor Roberts is also a graduate of the Trinidad and Tobago School of Preaching and Teaching. Cocky, I'll tell you something you didn't know.
Yeah.
I'll tell you something that you didn't know, Cocky. And
boss.
it have much more that you will know, Cocky, about
Right.
Victor Roberts as time goes on.
You're
Much
the man,
more.
You're the man.
So they cannot fool Victor.
Yes.
The book, I also know it. The wickedness, others also see it. I could smell it from
Yes,
far
Yes, yes.
when they falls. Because in 2010 to 2015, boy, it was like, you ever see the Western they call Gun on the Pulpit? It's a good Western to look at, old school.
Yes.
Gun on the pulpit. And let me tell you something. The preacher had the gun cut out and secure inside the Bible pages. And he blazing. That is what happened between 2010 and 2015 with the church leaders. They were blazing guns against the UNC. But today, Cocky, the members dying because of incompetence and negligence. And these wicked people have nothing to say. You understand what we reach to in this country, my brother? The chambers of commerce and next bunch are evil people. Not all, Cocky, but most of them.
Yeah.
Evil, wicked. I ain't hearing them talking now at all. You know why? Because they're afraid the bully. You see the bully, the raging bull that Manning speaks of?
Yes.
Cocky, they're afraid that bully. But I always tell the bully that you could never bully me. You see that bully who said take vaccine or else? I tell that bully I is the else man. I always waiting for the ultimatum. I never afraid ultimatum yet. You feel you could bully this country and do what you want and you will escape? Boy, I will mobilize this country. I will cry for this country to take a stand, to remove this bully who feel that he could bully the public servant, and who feel he could bully the private sector, and who feel, he doing a good job bullying the media. Koki doing a good job bullying the media. So let him continue to bully them, because them and all is good failure. You hear what I'm telling you, brother? Them and all is good failure. Welcome, caller.
Yeah, the fox inside again.
Yes, my brother.
I want to tell them police officers, all them police officers.
Yeah.
My father was one, and I could talk.
Yeah,
Let me
man.
tell you something.
Yeah, man.
When the 15 come, all of them who don't take the job go be home.
Yeah.
Right? Why all you doing people all kind of wrong because of Jacob? Jacob wasn't there in good faith. Right? Jacob has to go where you really go. Jacob, or having Jacob telling all kind of thing and all doing all kind of thing. All you have to stand with the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago.
Tell them again.
All your Trinidad police, all you have to stand with the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. Stand up with us. The prisons, everybody, the nurses, all you have to stand with us. Let me tell you something in Trinidad. If Victor and Corky keep a party in two different places right now, they fall out and they don't have room for more.
Yeah.
No, it's a stand up for your own self and your country and your own work to maintain your family. Right? And all of them putting the tail between their leg and watching one another. And for you pastor, let me tell you something, You see the bread the devil need, that is what you're eating.
Yeah. Yes, brother.
The bread the devil need, that is what all the pastors eating.
Yes.
Right? And this will follow generation to generation. When all of say evil doing all the family, it's not evil, it's God dealing with all the for what all the 2 years before.
Yes. Fox, tell them.
It's God dealing with all the children, making them born handicapped for the things all they're doing years to other people before.
Yeah, wickedness.
The wicked all the people will follow you.
Yeah.
The evil that man do live after you. Do good today and enjoy your sorrow.
Yeah.
And enjoy your tomorrow. And the last thing I will say, Rowley, it's time to go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Fox. Okay, let us welcome the Fox. The Fox is a man, when he call in here, he doesn't call here to talk shop, listen.
No.
When the Fox call here to make a point and to encourage people to do the right thing. That is what I like about the Fox. He do have time to call here with old talk. That is what I like about him. Trinidad and Tobago, we will be crossing over at around 8. Around 8 o'clock, we will be crossing over for the political leader speech on the Monday night forum. It is going on all now, and we will be crossing over for the honorable political leader speech at 8. Welcome.
Yeah, good night, my brother.
Yes, sir, good night.
Good night, Trinidad and Tobago. We can't take this thing for too long again.
Yes, sir.
Our people are dying. And the government, fortunately for them, they have a long time to get out of there, but we have to bring that forward.
Yes, sir.
The time has come, as I said before, Mr. Roberts, we have to mobilize this nation.
Yes, sir. I agree.
You understand? We have to mobilize this nation to make sure these people call an election in the shortest possible time.
Yes, sir.
Trinidad has never been like this. We have, unfortunately, we have a situation in Trinidad. We have economic problem, medical problem, social problem, financial problem, political problem, constitutional problem. And the government come and put a man there who is in the jockey shorts, the police commissioner acts in the jockey shorts of the prime minister.
Yes, sir. Inside that day.
Everybody. You have the president in the jockey shorts.
Yeah.
You have the integrity commission.
Jockey shorts.
All of them inside a Rowley jockey short, and he have election in the back pocket.
Yeah.
So let him keep the rest of them in the jockey shorts, but let him pull out what he have in the back pocket.
Yeah.
And call the election.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right? To you, Victor and Corky, bless, and to the nation of Trinidad and Tobago.
Yes.
Bless you all, and get up and let's start moving to mobilize this country for a better future for the posterity of this nation. Thank you.
Very much, caller. Thank you very much. That's another very intelligent call. Another very intelligent call. Welcome, caller.
Hello?
Hello, good night.
Good night, sir.
Good night, sir, Mr. Roberts, and good night, Mr. Corky.
Yes,
Three
sir.
things.
Yes.
First thing, concerning the health center, a couple of weeks ago I told you that the Churchill Health Center, the pharmacy, they closed down.
Yeah.
They opened back this week, but no medication.
So what do you
So
open
what
for?
the first caller said was like no medication.
You hear that, Corky?
Why this going on?
Well, I heard they say no medication. Everybody had to come and go back. They go and buy by the pharmacy if they have pharmacy have it too. Second point, Mr. Robert,
Yes,
a lot of people don't think about. Remember a couple of months ago, a boat floating from Africa into Trinidad waters, undetected, that wanted that dead people and rotten body.
Right, went to Tobago
That-
shores.
That is what have Trinidad and Tobago where we are. That is connected to our leaders who went there and do what they have to do and come here and take over control. That is the second part. The third one is Mr. Roberts. We need somebody to take charge, to take lead. You see how you saying tonight, you're ready and you get, and we need everybody ready to come out, you know. Every single people in Trinidad will be ready to come out and march.
Sure,
but we
caller?
need a leader.
Caller, you sure?
Mr. Roberts.
Yes, sir.
If you call a march tomorrow, I personally will bring on 50 people.
Beautiful.
I am telling you, we need a leader. I'm not talking about Kamla and them here. Them do what they have to do.
I understand.
They're doing the things legally, but Mr. Robert, you need to take charge and call out your troops. That is the only way. You need to call out your troops. And people will respond. You see Lavati start, or not Lavati, become start. Freeport, the other day, Tobago, Mr. Roberts, you need to take charge and call out your troops. And we will respond in a very heavy way. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, caller. Yes. Boy, Corky.
Yes, sir.
Corky, this is serious business, you know, Corky.
Yes, yes.
Corky, are almost ready to lead this resistance, you know, Corky. All right.
Yes,
Welcome, caller.
Hey, Mr. Roberts, good night to you and Corky.
Yes, sir. Good night.
I want to second one and caller here.
Second, what he say?
Yes.
Yeah, your voice just sends pain in fella's heart. I ain't no PNM, and I could tell you that. You have a voice which shake them up, boy. And you see them preachers we talk about what God in the Bible?
Yeah.
The PNM just like them. Remember Father Harvey?
Yes, sir.
Right. He keep candlelight vigil around the Red House.
Boy.
Say get the devil out of the Red House. That is Mr. Bicester, right?
Yeah.
Three young boys hold them up in the church down in town there, Piccadilly or somewhere. I know what to do him. But you just have a hard latch and thing. But he didn't even want another precinct in Trinidad. He had out to the country in Grenada all over.
Yeah.
That is what they just do when they're playing thing.
Well, like them boy put the devil in.
And they put some lash on him and feel.
Caller, you sure people ready? Caller, people ready in this country? Caller, people ready in this country, caller?
Well, with a leader like you, I feel I go follow you. Honestly. Because, don't forget, they follow Daga, you know.
Yeah.
And right now, I think you more menacing with than Daga. I always tell my wife, I people say, I was a preacher, you know. But when I hear you say tonight you graduate from the school of preaching.
Yeah.
You confirm that?
Yeah, I graduated there, Kola. I graduated there.
Yes, you.
I did theology for 3.5 years.
Okay, so beginning thing.
3.5 years, yeah. Actually wanted to study religion, so I did a little bit of Hinduism, Islam, Christianity, different.
Yeah, you study the whole bunch.
Denominational doctrine and all that I study, so I have some knowledge.
You have no fear in you, that is what I'm trying to tell you here.
Yeah.
You have no fear, people will follow you. I mean, it's hard just to listening to you on the radio.
Yeah.
Them fellas trembling, all them advisory and all them is a pack of look.
And Kola, all I want to do is to wake up this country to
You done did it already?
listen, to hold any government accountable.
I understand that.
Even the party I belongs to,
right,
they must not escape.
You understand how it is?
Yes, every government must be accountable to the people.
To the people.
That is my position.
Right, but you're doing a real good job, Mr. Robert. That's why I second the call. I just hear you talking. I say, boy, them fellas trembling, they're dancing and all them. If I could tell what's going on there,
Yeah.
listening to you, waiting for them.
Thank you, Kola.
All right, Mr. Robert, have a good night.
Thank you, Kola. Thank you for that call. Thank you. Hockey.
Yes, sir.
Hockey people in this country ready for seriousness, brother boy. People ready to lead the future generation in the way in which this constitution have designed the wealth of this country to be distributed, Koki.
Yes.
Koki people ready to understand that the resources of this country must be shared equitable amongst the citizens, reaching down to the poorer class, Koki.
Well, why is it set like this so that all these wicked things keep happening and going on?
Because we, the people, allowing it to be so. Let me tell you something.
Yes.
Watch out the amount of infringement, the amount of abuse of our constitution that this government perpetrate against us, and yet we sit down, Koki, and ain't do anything. Koki, one of the most dangerous piece of legislation that this government bring and pass with a simple majority was the removal of the regulator in the procurement legislation. Let me tell you what was the role of that individual.
Yes, because a lot of people there don't know about the political side of things.
The role of that regulator, Koki, he was the checks and balance to ensure that money spent is money value. In other words, his job was to ensure that if the government going to liquidate, sell a property, that it must be value, it must be money for value. If the government going to buy a boat, like how Rowley and Stuart Young went to Australia and do the thing and come back and say this is what it costs, and nobody could ask a question, this procurement regulator, his job was to ensure that accountability take place with the spending of the public monies. In other words, he had the authority to call for audit. He had the authority to call for investigation if he believed that there was anything that wasn't right.
And where is he?
They removed that portfolio out of the procurement legislation and give the Minister of Finance the authority. So Colin Imbot could Koki, today we don't even know how much we paid for vaccine. We don't know nothing.
Yes.
Everything is an oath of secrecy. The government say every contract is an oath of secrecy. When the regulator was there, even though you may not have gotten certain information, the procurement process would have had to be above board.
Right.
By removing the procurement regulator, what you do is that you create the opportunity to steal. You create the opportunity to manipulate. You create the opportunity to benefit financially from any deal. And that is what we are doing. I was shocked what it was when I saw the Aboods.
Yes. Yeah.
Were condemning the actions of the government. Actually, by Koki and Nelly, I think I passed gas when I see that, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I passed some
was
gas.
a big surprise.
Yeah, because it rocked my belly in such a way that I had to pass some gas.
Something wrong.
Something
right?
had to be wrong.
Yeah.
So, is it, now people have it to say, they would only speak when it starts to affect them. Right? That is how John Public have it. But the fact remains is that they speak and they condemn, which they didn't condemn at the time when Rowley and Alwari removed the regulator. I didn't hear them. But now, where the thing hit the fan and it's spattering on them and spattering all over, now they're talking and saying that the government is acting high-handed, the government is corrupt, the government is pilfering a big word to say thief in it.
Yeah. Pilfering?
Yeah.
All right.
Right? The government is thieving. I like the man on the street to understand when I talk. Thieving.
Right.
Right? So the fact remains is that they continue to spend. Rowley could not have come to us and say they spend $300 billion if the procurement regulator was there, Corky, without accountability. The government would have had to account for every cent. Unlike now, they are not accountable to the people based on the removal of the procurement regulator out of the procurement legislation.
Wow.
That is how serious it was. But the people didn't take cognizance of that at the time. They allow it to roll and they allow it to go. It was no big deal. Kamla Prasad Bisesa had a number of round table discussions inviting different individuals to sit down and speak and to point out the dangers in removing the procurement regulator, but the country remained silent on it. And now it is almost impossible to give any kind of financial account as to how much money the government spent, the legitimacy about that spending, and also the accountability of that spending. That has now gone through the window.
Yes.
That is how dangerous it is. And that is why I am asking, is Trinidad and Tobago ready to call a fresh election? But Corky, I am going to put them on a test.
How are you going to do that?
I'm going to put them on a test. Corky, let me tell you how easy I'm going to put them on a test.
Yes.
I am going to make a call for mass demonstration throughout this country. And based on their reaction, I will know if they're serious or if they're only full of hot air, which is talk. Let me take this one.
Right.
Welcome, caller.
Hello, good evening. I'm Victor and Kokidi and the listeners.
Yes, sir.
I'm paying attention to what you're saying, very inviting. Well, if you look at the, according to these Christians, so-called Christians, you know, when they're in the church and so on, they under laws, you know. Why plenty of outside you could go and have a drink when you're ready to go to a party, or when you're ready, well, I encourage and things, but they're restricted for that. They are under restrictions, and sometimes they do pick up somebody outside the church, they lay that restrictions and then deny, you have to stop this, you have to stop that, and do what? Who made those laws? It's the ministers and them themselves, and they worship, and they worship the mother of the mother of the church symbol. You see it above the pulpit, or the pulpit above the church. And that symbol has no power or authority. It's just bare. The only thing that hold on to sometimes is a dead man. So, the devotion in vain.
Right, so caller. So here it is. Thanks for the call. You see, caller, a man religion, a man belief needs to remain his personal belief. A man way of worship also is his choice.
Right.
And therefore, I will not get in to the rituals that one may perform within their realms of their
Right.
worship to their Lord.
Condemn none.
Yeah, so I will not continue on that topic.
Yes.
All right? And I said that with respect to you also. I will not continue on that topic. I will leave that part of it out of this discussion. Because, you see, anytime I get into one religious belief and whatever rituals that they perform, then I will be condemning one against the other. And everybody have a right to their belief and to believe what they choose to believe.
And this is the sort of thing that's called division.
Right. So we're not going to
So we don't
entertain.
wanna-
We're not going to entertain along those lines at all.
Yes.
All right. Good. So Koki, this is what the government did.
Yes.
So when you remove checks and balance, like for instance, even this mandatory vaccination that they come in with, that they want to fool people and disguise, and because
Right.
Koki, let me tell you what the people not realizing. The people not realizing that once the government succeed with this plan for the public sector, it will affect the private sector. It will affect every citizens, because guess what? When you speak of making the public sector safe zones, then the unvaccinated will not be able to enter any of these safe zones, whether to look for a board paper, whether to renew an ID card, whether to get your driver's permit, whether to pay our insurance, whether to get your deed certified. All these things will be hindered.
Mass division.
Right. So while people playing idiots right now and talking about like them, I ain't taking the vaccine and them could do what they want, it's not a matter about taking a vaccine or not. This is a matter of the government breaching the constitution, and this is something that we must not allow. Vaccination is your choice. I have no problem with it. That is your choice.
Yes.
Whether you choose or you choose to or choose not to. The fact remain is that what safe zone you're talking about in this country, while the vaccinated could also spread the virus. So what you're really talking about? What apartheid you now introducing? It is simply introducing slavery to the country without shackles. They are putting you in bondage without shackles. They are placing you back into slavery without the shackles on your feet and without the shackles on your hands. They are putting your minds in shackles. That is what the government is doing. And we must take a stand to say no to the government. And it doesn't have to be with vaccine. It has to do with any aspect of breaching the constitution, especially when you does not solicit the required majority to make those type of amendments.
Yes.
That is the facts. Koki, we had to take a break
Yes,
here.
we
Though.
need to take a break.
That is the facts. All right, so we'll open the lines when we come back.
Yes, we'll be right back.
U975 Hot Like Pepper Multicultural Radio and Multicultural Television MCTV, bringing you back where you belong. Part of the Rhythms Communications Network. To advertise with us, call 218-7820.
My parents' generation grew up with Royal Castle. From the first restaurant in 1968, when that distinctive, tempting aroma hit the air, they just couldn't resist. And like never before, fried chicken with a special blend of local seasonings and a one-of-a-kind flavor down to the bone. today, Royal Castle still have that same delicious taste, and I love it too. The kids can't resist it either. Plus, they have more to enjoy. For me, the castle is more than just nice food. It's we own, part of me and you, and is the real flavor of TMT.
Come to the Waves Restaurant and Bar, Grafton Beach, Black Rock, Tobago. Great ambience, fantastic prices, all COVID protocols observed. Full premium bar available. Call Waves at 731-4646 to make your reservation. Come dine with the Waves Restaurant and Bar, Grafton Beach, Black Rock, Tobago. You must be vaccinated to dine in.
It's time to make your community better than before. Join yours truly, Kieran Joseph Samaru, on Your Community. We'll be discussing the important issues with the important people in the place most important to you, your community. Join us every Tuesday at 9 p.m. right here on MCTV as we know and make your community better than before.
Fresh Street Market, your neighborhood supermarket.
Number 3 Andrew Lane, corner Churchill Roosevelt Highway and Andrew Lane, Derby, Mousica.
Opening hours.
Saturday 7:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m.
Sundays 8 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. When you think about fresh produce and good quality food, come to Fresh Street Market, your neighborhood supermarket.
Number 3 Andrew Lane, corner Churchill Roosevelt Highway and Andrew Lane, Derby, Mousica. Island Hobbies, Ryson Road, Port of Spain, has the largest variety of toys in the Caribbean and South America. No one can beat our prices. If you see it cheaper anywhere else, prove it and we will beat it. We're open every day till late, Sunday to Sunday, even on Christmas Eve till 11 p.m. Island Hobbies, Ryson Road, Port of Spain. Even Santa buys toys from us. Toys.
And it's not just about toys. They've got party items for the kids if you're having a kids party. They got lots of other stuff down there at Island Hobbies. Check this out.
Fire Friday.
Friday, mash up the place. Friday, in front of the face. Friday, red, white, and black. Friday, and back. Friday.
Fire Friday.
Thank God it is Friday. Thank God it is Friday.
Marsha Walker. Join me on U975, Hot Like Pepper, and douglAR Radio every Friday for Fire Friday. Every Friday when we, the UNC Women, bring the heat. 6:15 p.m. every Friday. UNC Women, bring in the heat with Marsha Walker. Fire Friday.
douglAR Radio is now on U97.5 FM Hot Like Pepper Multicultural Radio, Monday to Friday, 6:15 p.m. to 9 p.m. with Anil Roberts. Bringing you the facts on politics and up-to-date information. Also taking your calls on 218-7762. douglAR Radio on U97.5 FM Hot Like Pepper Multicultural Radio, 6:15 p.m. to 9 p.m. Monday to Friday.
Get ready for the revolution. Come on. What you say now?
Sponsored by Royal Castle.
What goes in is a local something that makes it all taste better. It's the flavor of our culture. Come from here, come from there, and everywhere. It's the special flavor that's made to savor at the Royal Castle. Welcome the Royal Castle. Royal Castle. Flavor to the bone. Royal Castle. Taste the very own. Royal Castle is the local something that makes it all taste better. Taste the unique flavor of our culture at Royal Castle.
7:44 U97.5 Hot Like Pepper Multicultural Radio with douglAR Radio.
So I see the Honorable MP for Pointe-à-Pierre, David Lee, is now on the floor.
Yes.
I think a while ago I also glimpsed the Honorable Saddam Hussein.
Okay.
Remember, we'll be crossing over as soon as the Honorable political leader come to the podium. We will be crossing over to allow you, the listeners, to listen to what the leader would have to say tonight. So, ladies and gentlemen, as we continue our discourse, I am saying, Corky, that I am going to put this country on notice very soon as to allowing them to demonstrate how serious they are in demanding an election be called. Welcome, caller. Hello.
Good evening. No appearance. Yes, so you're not going to disclose yet how you're going to
go
about it?
No, I am going to give them the opportunity to demonstrate in their own areas. In their own areas.
Okay.
And based on what I see come out of that, then I will know for sure if the people of this country is ready to save this country, or if they decide to allow this country to die with the PNM. That is what I'm going to do. I am going to give them the opportunity, because you see, mobilization, my brother, is a serious issue. And to mobilize, it must start from the community level. Welcome, caller.
Hello.
Welcome, caller.
Everything is on.
Hello. Something
Just
seems-
drop. Let me see. Drop the call. Something's definitely wrong. All right. We have it back. We're back.
All right, so caller, you could try again. We
2-1,
back
yes,
up.
yes.
Try again. We back up. It was error on our side.
It's a digital board.
Yeah, so you could try again and you'll be back on.
218-7762.
So, brother, I will give them the opportunity to prove that they are serious.
All right.
And once they are serious, then
you will step in.
We will be marching to Zion.
All right.
Welcome, caller.
Can I contribute?
Yeah, caller, you inside.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah, we had a little error just now.
Information.
Yes.
Information.
Yeah.
You guys are up again. This police. From the chapter movie. Is a dead soldier.
Come a little talk a little closer to your phone.
You guys are up again. This police. Dead vampire. Be careful.
Up against who? The police?
He's already dead. All his followers are also dead. Dead soldiers in his spirit. Thank you in Jesus' name.
All right, caller, thank you.
What you say? We up against what? And Jesus followers are all dead, and Jesus.
No, the vampires and. So I will give them the opportunity, my brother.
Yes.
And then we will know where we going, if we going, or if we just talking.
Yeah.
Because you see, in this country, one of the most, if I should say, cheapest commodity there is talk.
Talk.
We could talk, you know. It have a song that said, they talking, yeah.
Keep on
We gonna
talking.
keep them talking.
Yeah. And there was a Western I was looking at, and the guy said, it seems like you like to hear yourself talk.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name. But,
Yeah. So this is a time in our history that talk would not do the job. This is a time where this country have to defend itself against the domestic terrorism, and this domestic terrorism is being led by our government. Wow. Welcome, caller.
Good night.
Yes, sir. Good night.
A pleasant good night to you all.
Yes, sir. Same thing.
First time caller.
Welcome, caller. Welcome. We always welcome the first time caller. Welcome to douglAR Radio family.
I just called to, well, I listened to the program from the start. I just called to find out if you all are part of the pushback movement from the Gong report.
All right, so right, that's it?
Yeah.
Right, so you could come off here, I will talk.
Yes, yeah.
So let me answer it this way.
Yes.
We are part of the movement for change in this country. The movement for change may very well come from different quarters in society.
Yes.
We are supporting any quarter in this society who intend to bring about change in this country. And that's our position. In this country, we are faced with a dilemma where it is either we do or die. You know, long time Koki, my father used to tell me, in this house it can have two men.
Yes.
So it's either you do, you die, or you run away.
Yes.
And I think I tell you, I think about running away once or twice, but I know if I run away and he catch me, it's better I die. So what I decided to do was just to do and forget the die and the run away part, right?
Yes.
Now when I say do, I used to do what he want and I used to do what I want too, eh?
Right.
Right? I used to do what he want, and I also used to do what I want.
Yes.
And I say that to say this.
Yes.
In this society, we reach a stage is either we do or we die.
Yeah.
It have no place for running away because based on the pandemic, there is no way for you to run. There is nowhere to run, Corky.
To run, nowhere to hide.
Nowhere to hide. So what is needed is a government that cares about its citizens. A government who would not abuse its citizens. And tomorrow, I will be here again tomorrow, which Tuesday is really my official night.
Yes.
And Corky, tomorrow,
yes,
I will bring some points to this country.
Yes.
And I will allow this country to judge for themselves.
Yes.
So I'm asking everybody to tune in tomorrow, please God. Tune in
Okay.
early. Stand by and wait. Because tomorrow I will borrow. Koki, I wonder if I ain't gonna borrow it.
Borrow?
I'm going to say something, but I ain't gonna borrow it.
All right.
Tomorrow I will create a different fire in your belly.
Yes.
Once God give me health and strength, I will create a fire in your belly tomorrow with facts. With facts. I have a program every Sunday night 7:30 that we call Facts Not Fiction.
Yes.
And tomorrow, while I on douglAR Radio,
yes,
and while the honorable senator have some level of confidence in me to hold on for him when he is not here, he know
yes,
that once I speak to you, I speak facts and not fiction.
Yes.
That is my joy, bringing the facts to you. And I think that every politician should be accountable to facts. You see, this whole ball game had to change, you know, Koki.
Yes, yes.
This ball game had to change where it can no longer be the same old behavior from politicians in our society.
Yes.
This whole ball game have to change. We have to deal with facts. We have to be truthful. We have to be honest. We have to be transparent, and we must be held accountable. That is of utmost importance. So tune in tomorrow. Tune in tomorrow, please God. Boy, I will light your belly afire with facts. And when I bring that facts to you tomorrow, I want you to decide. You might call and give me the date.
Right.
You might give me the date instead of asking me for a date. You might call my phone and
Yes.
give me the date. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are about to cross over The honorable political leader will be coming to the podium very soon.
Yes.
And I want you to sit back and listen, contemplate on what the leader will say to this country tonight.
Yes.
All right, so I think the leader should be coming after Senator Wade Mark.
Yes.
So I will keep you posted, which would happen in just a little bit.
Right.
So, ladies and gentlemen, as I was saying,
yes,
you might give me the date tomorrow when I finish speak. You might call the date, and I may very well have to fall in with the date you call.
Yes.
Take what I tell you, because it ain't no playing thing now.
Yes.
It ain't no talking thing now. We deliberate enough on social media. We talk and we quarrel and we vex and we cuss vaccine and we cuss this one and we cuss that one and we cuss WHO. We cuss we self and all.
Yes.
So days for cussing over. Now it's time for action, and sensible action. Now it's time for a different type of action.
Yes,
now
sir.
it's time for action to rebuild and to restore public confidence and public trust in governance. Now is the time for that. Now is the time that you, the citizen of this country, must understand what is the first past the post system. You must understand that it's a system where you have a say in the governance of this country. Something that you have forfeited for years. Something that you have given up. Something that you allow to slide for years. My job is to reinstate that in your DNA. So going forward, you must never surrender your democracy. You must never surrender your constitutional rights. You must never ever, ladies and gentlemen, going forward in this country, give up your rights to be heard. Your rights in the decision making. That is your fundamental constitutional rights. We have allowed governments to trample and stifle that rights. My job is to wake you up. My job is to help you to understand what is your right in this country. My job is to be the voice for the voiceless. My job must be the voice that will cry on behalf of you, the people of this country. My voice must be the voice that will cry and bring about justice for all mankind. My job is to let you know that while you may be poor and while you may be oppressed and while you may be downtrodden, all is not lost. There is hope, and I am here to bring that hope, to rise you up so that you will understand what it means to be a part of our society. My job, ladies and gentlemen, is to move you from that poverty line that some of our politicians have drawn and placed you below, that don't matter, after 47 years you cannot rise above that line. My job is to rise you up
Stand up.
My job is to help you to understand that you do not have to be poor and oppressed in a rich country that belongs to all of us. My job, ladies and gentlemen, is to help you to see that they have put on a darkers on your eyelids so that you could never see clearly in this country. My job is to remove that darkers from your eyelids and help you to see clearly that your rights in this country must be respected. That is my job, ladies and gentlemen. My job is to defend a political party only when that party defend you. Without any defense for you from a political party, I will fight against that party and crush the enemy and help you to realize that collectively we can stand and we could crush any political party who does not have the interest of the people of this country close to their hearts. That is my job, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
My job, ladies and gentlemen, is not just to be the voice that crying in the wilderness, but my job is to cry as hard and as loud as it takes to have the oppressors tremble in their shoes.
Yes.
My job is to shake the walls of Jericho so that those who live as kings and queens for all these years must understand that you who serve them deserve royalty also.
Yes.
My job, ladies and gentlemen, is to get every citizen on this island that we call Trinidad and Tobago to understand that you have a place in this society. You have a place, ladies and gentlemen. You have given up that right for too long. You have allowed yourself to be betrayed and to be trampled by a party who you trust and who you believe is in resemblance of you, the people. A party who use the word black only to suppress and to benefit. A party who use the word black only to stay in power. A party who never see you as a black man who must rise in our society. Oh, how they betray us. How they trample upon us. How they have taken us for granted. How they have left us to suffer and die as paupers, while they and their friends benefit in every aspect. Oh, how they forget and neglect our areas. They have degenerated our areas as slums and ghettos. They have left us to murder and to kill each other in a rat race where we cannot survive. They have turned their backs on the youths of this country so that the youths believe that the only way forward is illegal activities. Today I am crying on you, the youths of this country, to join with me and let us fight for our equal rights. Let us fight for our equal place Let us understand that our brothers and our sisters, they are not our enemies. Let us realize, oh young people, that the enemies of us are there with their jackets and their ties, who call out to us as brothers and sisters, when the truth and the fact is that they see us as pawns and enemies and a bunch of people who have no future. Oh, mighty youths of this country, you are young and strong and brilliant and vibrant. Let us use our strength for the right reason. Let us use our purpose of being for the right reason. Let us build a community where we no longer have to fight and kill each other in our society. Welcome, caller.
A pleasant good night, sir.
Yes, sir. Good night.
This is caller last call. I was only listening to a guy called Barton Skippy Thomas. And no, I'm not pointing no fingers, eh?
No, you go ahead, brother.
But I want you to tell me, what did PNM do with he? He was an advocate for UNC, yeah? So I want to know, now, I as a man following all these radio programs, I don't really call out all the time. Sometimes I does. But tonight, you're singing just like Skippy. I hope you end up taking money from PNM.
Well, brother.
And leave you out.
All right, so listen this. Listen this, brother. Nice. You finished?
Yeah.
All right, thanks. Thanks for your contribution. So please don't take me for Baran.
Yeah.
You know that song?
Yeah.
Baran don't look like me.
Yeah.
Koala, don't take me for Skippy. Take me for what you see and what you hear. Take me for Victor Roberts, the freedom fighter in this country. I want to tell you something, Kola. I was offered. Let me just back up a little bit. I went independent, Kola. Talking to you now for just a minute. The leader might come anytime soon. And when I went independent, I was called to a meeting by the PNM. I went as the independent candidate in Palo Seco, who make history by getting 800 plus votes even while I was in the hospital suffering a gunshot wound. Kola, you got to call back. I had to finish this point.
Yes.
And Kola, let me tell you something. I was summoned to a meeting. And when I went to that meeting in Faizabad, I was offered 6 CPEP gangs. I was offered that in relation to step down from going as an independent candidate. Out of that meeting, caller, I told those who was advocating on behalf of the PNM that all I needed was an affidavit from the Prime Minister as to what he was going to do in the constituency of Labre, and once I get that document, I will withdraw. 1 week after, I was told that the Prime Minister said that he cannot give me any document, and I sent a message that I will not withdraw. Caller, 2 days before the election, while I was on a motorcade, some soldiers stopped the vehicle around Dangerous Corner, gave me a high five. My wife driving, me throwing them in the van, the DJ truck and some other vehicles behind. And that soldier gave me a high five, Corky.
Yes.
And as I about to drive off, I was shot straight through my chest by another member of the Trinidad and Tobago Defense Force. You hear what I'm telling you, caller? And while I was in the hospital, I still received 800 plus votes. And you know why I get that vote? I get that vote for what I stand for in Palo Seco. I get that vote because of the charitable work that I used to do before I was asked to go and fight an election. I get that job for the justice I always stand for in my community. And caller, that gunshot could not have stopped me. I was offered money recently by a minister to withdraw from speaking against the. A matter of fact, that Indian minister asked me what I doing with them Indian people. Listen what I just say, Corky. The Indian minister who come and talk to me and give me his cell number and tell me call him whatever I want, telling me that he's an Indian and what I doing with them Indian people. And I take his cell number, and the next Thursday I was on the radio telling that same minister that money cannot buy me. Brother, let me tell you something. I don't get one black or red or blue cent from the UNC. Listen what I just tell you, caller. You know why? Because nobody in the UNC could pay Victor Roberts to talk. Victor Roberts is not here because Victor Roberts needs something from somebody. What I do is between me and my God. And when I stand, the doctors and them say that I could never survive that gunshot. And here I am today. That happened in November of 2016 on the 26th of November. And let me tell you something, caller. I am standing here today fighting the same battle, not because somebody give me something or because I want something from somebody. I am going to fight for justice, freedom, equity in this country as long as God grant me the privilege to speak. And yea do I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil and I fear no man. You know why? Because God art with me. And when God say, Victor, today will be the last day that you will have the breath of life in your body, that is when it will becomes the last day. And don't matter how you womb this body, don't matter how you damage this body, you cannot take this breath except God grant permission. So caller, let me tell you something. I am a fighter, and I am a fighter with a difference. And I'll leave you with that caller. Now I will take the call who was calling just now.
Yes, 218-7762.
You see, alright, I will take the call now. Welcome, caller.
Cascade here.
Yes, Cascade.
Champion man.
Thank you,
If you want to tell you have a leadership quality. You have a leadership quality. You talking about by any means necessary, you know.
Yes, brother.
By any means necessary, you know. It's to stand up. I don't know why my people sit down on that cloak of apology hiding. We are hiding for. This is the time to come out, you know. You have to use this radio as a clandestine radio station to call the people, you know.
Yes, sir.
Do not run. I a revolutionary, you know.
Yes, brother.
And I hold the machine gun since the 21st of April 1970.
All right, caller, I had to cut you now. The honorable leader, come on. The honorable leader, come on. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome the honorable political leader of the United National Congress, the heavyweight champion of this country. I now hand over. Archie, get ready, Archie. Take it and go and bring the leader of the United National Congress, the Honorable Kamala Prasad Champion Bisesa. Good night, my honorable leader, and good night, my people. Stay tuned tomorrow, same time. I out.
Thank you very much. Good evening. Good evening to my colleagues who are here with us in very small numbers but great in spirit. Good evening to all of you who are locked on to our virtual, the first for this new year of 2021. I cannot express to you how happy I am that we are able once again to speak with you. Albeit we cannot speak with you one-on-one, in person, face-to-face, but that day will come. And we in the UNC will continue to work to ensure that that day does indeed come. But in the meantime, I really feel overjoyed to share with you some ideas, some thoughts, and see how we report on what has happened in the past year, and to share with you our plans, our initiatives, our strategies as we go forward in the new year. As Saddam said, with the knockout punch in 2022, we must knock out the PNM, we must get them out of office. They must go, the PNM must go, Rowley must go, and the whole batch, they must all go. So, I am also very happy to be with you, to speak with you. For those of you, we must say, give praise and thanks to God who have survived into this new year, 2022. Thank God that you have survived a very difficult year. At the same time, we recognize and share condolences with the families and the loved ones of those who were not able to make it through into 2022. Other speakers have mentioned over 3,000 persons have died under this wicked, incompetent government from COVID. Tim has shared with us, Dr. Gopi, saying this was not necessary, it should not have happened, but I'll come back to that point. So let's recap a little on some of the work we did in 2022. The leader of Senate Business, Senator Mark, shared with you matters raised in the Senate by your loyal opposition. Chief Whip MP Lee has raised matters we dealt with in the House, in the Parliament, and of course I shared with you some of the work we did in the Parliament, outside the Parliament. Overall, 2022 was a year that we saw the opposition members across the board and activists, our supporters everywhere, really stepping up to the plate. We began the People's Revolution last year, October, and I sort of noticed that that revolution continues. The People's Revolution continues into 2022, and we will not stop. We must not stop until we remove this wicked, incompetent, and corrupt Rowley government. When we look at the COVID situation, I know my colleague Dr. Gopi Singh spoke with you a bit on it, and I would like to share some more ideas. Over 3,000 deaths. We call for change, you remember. Tim was the first man off the block in the Parliament since last year in January. And again in February, Dr. Gopi Singh raised in the House the issue of the COVID as a dangerous disease, declared by the WHO. We tried to get an urgent debate, and my colleague spoke to you how many things we've tried to raise in the Parliament, only to get shut down. That's why we need these virtuals. We need these reports so that you can know what we have done and what we will continue to do. And so when it was raised, the government ruled through their spokesperson, not important, not urgent. Since last year in January, you know, they went ahead with the big carnival fete, and all hell broke loose. The cases started coming after that super spread event of Carnival. I see they're talking once again about Carnival. I hope this time they pay more attention that you're creating situations for super spreaders and you're creating situations for deaths of citizens of our country and non-citizens alike. So before you rush into Carnival, you know, yes, we are Carnival people, yes, we love the Carnival, but what is more important is to save lives. So don't go helter-skelter and talk about Carnival Fete. I remember the AG, and we'll come back to him, you know, Saddam. I mean, Saddam raised some points, MP Saddam. You remember when since last year he was talking about Carnival, even whilst the COVID was on, he was talking about planning for Carnival. The mother of all carnivals. Well, listen, sir, AG, as a father, you disowned your own children. You remember that issue? When it came up about children toting God's, the man disowned his own children. He disowned his own children. You could get a person disowning their own children. But who the hell is anybody else? Do you think he cares about anybody else? All he cares about is himself. And we'll come back to Mr. Rikuza Faris in a moment. So here we are, we call for change since then. We tried to get it done in the parliament to alert the population. A brilliant man, you know, Tim Gopisim, I was telling someone just earlier. Tim Gopisim has a resume about 90 pages long. All his qualifications, all his experiences, a tremendously experienced medical person. And early o'clock, you remember last year when this matter came up, I called on the Prime Minister, please let us have a meeting with the opposition and with the government benches. We took a team. Dr. Tim was one of them. We went in with ideas and so on. They took the piece of paper and threw it away. Never followed any. We called for change last year. We called for change over and over and over again. Today with over 3,000 deaths. What has happened? Nothing. It has worsened. When we call for that change, there were only about 200 deaths, you know. Look at where we are now, over 3,000 deaths. We have called for a commission of inquiry into the management of the COVID. They refuse. In Britain, they're doing it. That parliament is not afraid, that government is not afraid. Because if you do the commission of inquiry, you will get data. You'll get ideas and strategies. You'll see what is working, what is not working, so you could better plan. But what you are doing is by VAPS. That's your strategy to deal with this pandemic, to deal with this deadly disease. So when we call for that commission of inquiry, I want to give the assurance today, because we are going to move Rowley and the PN, we move them out of government. When we get into government, we will establish and set up a full commission inquiry into the mismanagement of the COVID pandemic by this government. So when I called for that commission inquiry, I was attacked by the government. Of course, I'm not surprised. I don't think anybody will be surprised, because that's all they can do. Buff mode. They go into buff mode on every issue. We were attacked by some elements in the media, and today I'm seeing where the media itself and individuals, they are now asking why so many deaths. They're now raising these issues. Well, I'm glad at least they got around to it. But this is a live issue, and that is why we say, let us continue to fight this wicked, incompetent, and corrupt government, get them out of office so we can do this commission inquiry and better manage the situation. So, failed propaganda team. They have made no changes to that team. So many issues arose over their time. The failed propaganda medical team they put out there, dress up pretty and looking nice. Every week, several times a week. I don't think people even watch those anymore or even listen to those anymore, those briefings. And it is basically something that is akin to state-sanctioned murder, what is happening. When I said that again, I was attacked. I'm not surprised, I'm used to it. But it's a salient point. What is happening by your negligence? It is criminal negligence. It is akin to state-sanctioned murder. I repeat that, who vexed, lost. Because I honestly believe that we are mismanaging. For the past 2 years, there was no war on COVID by this government. It was a propaganda war in which they continue. And so every death must be investigated. And Diyal Singh, Parasuram, Richards, and all of these people must be held accountable for the state-sanctioned murder, what's akin to say, swept aside as COVID deaths. The mishandling of this COVID debacle, I say again, amounts to criminal negligence. I repeat the call for the commission of inquiry, and listen, Rowley, make way. Move on, pass on, get out of the way, and let us get this country back to a state that is manageable, that takes care of lives and livelihoods. I want to share a story with you as I move into this whole issue of government stated policy, executive fiat. It is not by law. The Prime Minister stands up and he makes a pronouncement and expects and demands that the country follows his executive fiat. That's the Emperor and the King, as Weidmark will tell us. You know, he just makes a statement and that is law. But you have another thing coming, Prime Minister, and I want to share this story with you before I go a little more into what you're calling a safe zone policy, what you're calling a quasi, they can't even get the terms right. This is a safe zone policy, then another document put out, I think, by the PSA, or is it the PSA? PSA calls it a quasi-safe zone, so what is it really? You don't even know your A from your B, your elbow from your feet. You just don't know. You don't know. You're making it up on the hoof, as I say, by vats. Vike. So let me share a story with you, which I saw was posted by one of our staffers in the opposition, Darren Budan. And I thought it is so an analogy that is very relevant in the situation we are in now. So I want to tell you a story of shame and disgrace by this Rowley government. Long ago, officials in the Indian city of Delhi had a problem about how to get rid of cobras slithering around in their city. City officials came up with a bright idea. They said, why not offer a reward for every dead cobra people will bring in to the offices, the various offices. In that way, the city will be rid of this cobra infestation. While there would be an incentive, you'd be giving it, people looking to make some money, they will hunt down the cobras. Okay, they thought problem solved. You could never be more wrong. What could go wrong? For a while, the solution appeared to work. People came in, hunting down the cobras, bringing them in, and so getting rid of some of them. But then, as usual, you have some entrepreneurs, very enterprising people. We have a lot of those in Trinidad, by the way. Enterprising residents of Delhi. They got an even better idea. Why are you doing all this work to go in the bush and in the forest and hunt down cobras? Why? All you have to do is breed them in a pen, right? Then you kill them and you take them in and claim your money. So they became farmers, breeders of the cobras, instead of going hunting where they were. And that's what they began doing. Breeding these things, these cobras, deadly cobras, and selling it back without actually removing those that are out there. So when the administrators caught on to this scam, they stopped paying the people bringing the cobra, the farmers of the cobras, they stopped paying them, no money now. This created a new problem for the persons who were farming the cobras. So what are they going to do now? They have hundreds of the cobras in pens and so on in various places. What will they do with these worthless cobras now that they had in their breeding pens? Again, enterprising. Some people may call them otherwise the scammers. What to do? They found an answer. What they did, well, they can't keep minding and breeding these cobras, so they just let them go. Just let them go. And what happened? The result was that there was even a bigger population of cobras. So the natural cobras out in the fields, and then the ones that are being bred. And so that's what happened. And what it is that we have then, we make up a policy on the hoof as we go along. And we think the problem is solved, but even greater problems arise. So what will happen with this safe zone, quasi-safe zone policy that the government has come up with? What will happen if the 50% unvaccinated fire workers, prisons officers, police officers, etc., teachers and so on? What about if the army as well, what about if they don't take this vaccine and make these safe zones that you're talking about? Air traffic controllers, local government workers, all these thousands of workers that you're saying your money or your life, you're being held to ransom. If you don't bring a vaccine card, what's going to happen? They'll lay you off, but they use a nice word, furlough, if that's how you pronounce it. Nice word. Furlough. Well, what they're telling you basically, don't come to work and you're not getting paid. It's your money or your life. What are the unintended consequences then of this quasi-safe zone policy? What is it? What about when you go to get your NIS or your pensions, or you go into any of these services, even the hospital service, health centers, police, as I said, prison officers, all these public servants, everywhere, the length and breadth. What's going to happen with services to people? We are already overstretched in the healthcare system, parallel or not parallel, already understaffed, under-resourced. Tim shared some of that with us. What's going to happen if you enforce this policy? So, Prime Minister, I think you have another thing coming, that if you try to solve the problem in this way, you will be creating a greater problem of suffering, of no services to citizens. You end up in a health center and those people are not vaccinated and therefore they can't come to work. You go to the Cobra Hospital, the Sanford Hospital, the Port of Spain Hospital, you're sick. We already have the problems. You don't have enough staff. You don't have the medication. You don't have the resources. You don't have the ventilators. You don't have the beds. What about now when you don't even have warm bodies, personnel and staff? What's going to happen? What will happen then? So as you come up with this plan, I want to make it very clear, because there's some people like, we are fully in support of the vaccines. If I share personal experience with you, over the Christmas break, I witnessed for myself the suffering that COVID brings. It is unimaginable. So you may recover, yes, you may live, but the suffering that you go through, which lasts for quite, I've witnessed it myself. And so again, I make a sterling plea. Please take your vaccines, one. And two, for those who took the vaccines already, take the booster. You are going to be better protected. It may not totally prevent you from getting the COVID, but what it can do, it can help you to survive it. But it's a very painful survival from what I'm told. And I said I had personal experience, not like face to face, but from hearing from people, loved ones that I know, who really went through a very hard time with the disease. So I urge you again, let me make it clear as I've done repeatedly, please consult your doctor and consider taking the vaccines. And for those who already have shots, take the booster. I want to make it clear, I do not support mandatory vaccinations. I do not. The UNC, the loyal opposition of this country, does not support mandatory vaccination. And for several reasons. I do not want to give this wicked, corrupt, incompetent government more powers, extraordinary powers over lives and bodies of citizens. I want to say what will happen when I say the 50% don't come to work, or in all these services, public servants. What about if they don't show up for D-Day, the government's D-Day? What will happen? And so a program that is meant to eradicate it, which does not. There is no evidence that the vaccinations stop you from getting it. There might be some data, but Dr. Tim could tell us more about that. Well, government, if you have data, show us now. If you want to say that having the vaccine prevents you or the vaccine helps you, well, give us the data. You don't. Why are you hiding data? Why has this government gone on this propaganda campaign and hide data from citizens that could help people to make decisions, inform people? And so it's from this story that an economist, Horst Seibert, he coined the term the Cobra Effect. I started telling you the story, the Cobra Effect, to demonstrate the dangers of ignoring unintended consequences whilst you're crafting policy on good intentions. Well, we know the road to hell is paved with good intentions. You have to craft policy. You have to consider all the unintended consequences. That Cobra Effect, the little story I told you at the beginning. When Dr. Rowley announced his mandatory vaccine policy for public servants, well, they call it safe zone and quasi, but in effect, that is what it boils down to, you know. When he did that, he did it in his typical authoritarian manner. That's how he does everything. He said, get vaccinated or lose your job. Your money or your life. Your money or your life. That's what he's telling them. Take it or no job, no pay. And so that is not an incentive for people to get vaccinated. It's like a ransom demand. This is like a ransom demand. You're holding citizens to ransom by saying you will not be paid unless you show the vaccine people. And by the way, in Britain now, they are moving to remove, even on arrivals, the testing before you arrive, and then the quarantine things when you arrive. In other countries, they're moving away from these kinds of policies which lock down a country, but places livelihoods in danger and in jeopardy, and which in fact has collapsed our economy, which I'll share with you in a moment. So, as usual, in ignoring the problem, the unintended consequences of this very bad policy doesn't encourage people to get vaccinated. A vaccine mandate is likely to embolden two groups of people, the anti-vaxxers, who want to traffic vaccine conspiracy theories, and the fraudsters selling fake vaccine and fake cards and so on. I saw an article today in France where there's a standoff and a big protest between the vaxxers and the anti-vaxxers. And then you're moving into the areas of breaches of constitutional rights, which have to do with discrimination. The policy you're saying you're going to put in effect is one of discrimination. It is discrimination. You're saying only people with the vaccine cards could collect pay, work and collect pay. Who don't have vaccine cards? Sorry fellas, no pay for you. So a vaccine mandate could end up making more people vaccine hesitant and so desperate to keep their job, some may turn up like the Cobra breeders going for fake cards. Like Delhi's Cobra plan, I say Rowley's poorly thought out vaccine mandate could end up making more problems and creating a worse situation. Getting more people vaccinated requires government, they have to foster trust. We've lost trust in this government. They have to foster transparency. They must have the ability to communicate instead of talking down to people and buffing up people. However, this government prepares for problems to come back and bite them before they learn. So I shared that story with you. I want to again say, I encourage people, consult your doctor and go for the vaccine or the booster and the boosters thereafter. No to mandatory vaccine. This has only been developed, let's think about it, this vaccine only developed over the past year, You will tell me, well, listen, there are many vaccines that we take, but those have been developed over years and years with data, short-term, medium, long-term data that can help craft policy statements and policy decisions. This vaccine is just like a year. Maybe 10 years from now, you will find out how many things might have gone wrong and may go wrong. I remember there's a story about the thalidomide children. Years ago they're giving you all these wonder drugs and all these wonder things, and maybe 5, 10 years later, you show up with some kind of defect and serious deficiency. So this vaccine has not been tested and proven over the number of years. And so it's not reasonable to force persons to take their vaccine or lose their job. It's not reasonable. It's a false dilemma you're placing people in, and that is a very wicked thing to do. What next then now to come to the children? So first you're going at the adults and saying, hey, no vaccine card, no pay, stay home. What about children? What are we going to do about children? The next they're going to do is to try to force you for your children to take the vaccine. And what will they hold? What will be the weapon? In this case, the weapon, the ransom is no pay. What will they do for the children? They say no education. Your children will get no education unless they could present vaccine. That's the next place they will go, going down to the children. The vaccination of a child with such a new vaccine should be the choice of a parent. It should not be the choice of the government. That should not be a mandate from the government. We have vaccines mandatory for children. I've already explained those have been around for quite a while. We have data, enormous amount of data over years. And so you're coming to your children, now listen to me. You may have one child. Will a parent take that risk? Of course, it is up to the parent, but it must be done with the consent of the parent. So the next step I'm saying, will this authoritarian, dictatorial government move into saying your child can't go to school unless they have a vaccine card, denying them the right to an education. But at the same time, as a parent, and many parents are single parents, and even those who are parents of more than one child, will have to consider if to take that risk with their child. And so any mandatory policy, first with the adults, must be with the consent. And any policy for children must be the consent of the parent. And on top of that, if something happens to that child that you're forced to take the vaccine, are you going to have any liability for that? If you are saying you must take the vaccine, then the government must take responsibility and have liability. That if something should go wrong, as things do, Murphy's Law, things do go wrong, then the government must have a duty to make sure that that child gets the top care, utmost top care treatment, and or any other compensatory matters. But for the loss of a child, you could never fully compensate a parent. Every parent will tell you that. Not parents, aunts, uncles, everybody, you cannot compensate for the loss of a child. And that is why that decision, I am saying, must rest solely in the parents of the children. and not in any mandate, not in any executive fiat coming from this wicked, corrupt, incompetent government. Again, I repeat, I am of the firm view that this vaccine should only be administered to children where parents agree. Maybe in more time, with more data, a different policy position. But at the state of play now, that should be something done with the consent of parents. And whilst I speak about that, I want to remind this government that there is a statute on our statute books known as a Data Protection Act. So Faris will come to say we put in mandatory vaccine or safe zone, and his usual story, Surat and Northern Construction and proportionality and all these hairy-fairy arguments, he comes. Worst AG in the country. Most incompetent AG we've ever had. On top of that, I wouldn't say it, but some people say it, the most corrupt Attorney General we ever had. And this AG now will come with Surat and proportionality and all these nice words. This is the only Attorney General in this country who has found every way around any piece of legislation requiring special majorities. And why did the Constitution framers put in a provision express, not an implied, express in words, that anything touching rights, and these rights, I'm telling you, are enshrined in our Constitution, but they go back from way before 1960 Constitution and 76 Constitution. They go back to the days of something called Magna Carta, from way back 1066, Over all these years, these rights have been developed. You think, okay, my VAPs, or by mistake, people put these rights there? They're fundamental human rights. Wade Mark mentioned a very important point. We are a sovereign democratic state governed by a constitution. We are not like the British, who have all these rights, by the way, not governed by a constitution, although they don't have a Human Rights Act, where the approach to legislation is different, because Parliament could do no wrong. However, our Parliament can do wrong, and we do wrong under this AG, if we breach certain constitutional provisions. And in addition to that Constitution, we have the Declaration of Human Rights. I know there is some controversy in the law where they say you may have a treaty, an agreement, an international agreement, but it doesn't bind the government unless it is passed into domestic law. Well, that thinking has moved on. The position now is that once you had ratified the treaty, then people, your citizens, have a legitimate expectation that you will carry through the provisions of the treaty. And so we have the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. We have the one coming out of the UN. We have the one out of the OAS and so on. The American treaty relating to those same matters, with fundamental basic rights, and this government will breach every one of them and say we don't need a special majority. Surat, Northern Construction, simple majority. As I said, this AG has doctored and gerrymandered. I can't find a word because it's so disgusting. Every piece of legislation required a special majority. And I started saying to you, why did the Constitution framers put this in? They did it for a reason. You won't put a provision expressing a constitution. Remember that Constitution, the Bible for the operations of our sovereign democratic constitutional state. They have an express provision that certain pieces of legislation must have a special majority. So AG, it is a dunce AG. Incompetent AG will come to tell me about Surat and Northern Construction and so on. When you have an express provision which says that these things require a special majority, you can't just remove that clause and you feel you're gone clear, because AG, that's why you're losing cases every day in the court. The bad law that you're bringing to the Parliament, the shortcut piece of law that you're doing. And it's going to catch up with you. Each day is catching up with you. Each day. So those Surat me and Northern Construction me and proportionality, there is an express provision, must have special majority. Why did they put that in the Constitution if you were saying you could bypass it? Why? Our Constitution has that provision. Some of the others don't have that special provision for special majority. Some say it must be reasonable, which is the equivalent in some words to being proportional and so on. You have doctored every piece of legislation to come to boast how much legislation you pass. and you're going to get every piece of it struck down. In the same way, the 2021 order you made, you doctor that order and you pass it and you vote in the parliament, you bring a 2021 order for selection of a commissioner of police and acting commissioner. What happened? None. We still don't have one, that's true. We still don't have one. It was struck down in the courts. You brought a piece of bad law again, and there are others that have been struck down. By the time you count it, by the time this man finishes his term, which I hope will be very soon, his term will end, you're going to count them up, you'll count them up, where he brings this bad law, pontificates and lies in the parliament. The members shared with you some of his lies. And I want to ask him again, what about the Data Protection Act? There's a statutory requirement in the Data Protection Act which says you cannot access personal information. That could be BIR, it could be medical information, and others. You cannot access it without the consent, once again, consent of the person. So you want my medical records? Look, you can't go and get it, you know. You can't go in the hospital and get it, you know, unless you get my consent. You want medical records from who given vaccine? Tell me if Wayne Mark went and got his vaccine. Tell me if Kirk Mago, tell me. Did you all have a vaccine card for him? He came in a center. You cannot access it, you'll be breaching the law. But you know what? Smart man again, con man again. They came last year like a thief in the night, in the dead of night, and they proclaimed the sections to access the private information. But you know what? In the act, the protections that were given for your fundamental privacy rights and so on, they didn't proclaim those sections, which was the parts to do with consent. Well, you're going to get that strike down too far. That's another one you're going to lose for sure. You can't do that. When we passed that law, we passed it with a special majority. And the reason we were able to pass it was because we had built-in checks and balances. So yes, you could access the medical information, the BIR information and so on, but you have to get the consent of the person involved. So look at that Data Protection Act, Chapter 2204, which is an act to protect privacy and personal information. And such information is defined to include medical records. So careful how you tread. Careful how you tread. We are heading for some kind of chaos on the D-Day they've set. They have different dates. One is the 15th of January, one is the 17th of January. And I think some people have been asked to send in their vaccine information by the 7th, I think. Some people have been asked. The Minister of Public Admin has put out a circular to all heads departments, PSS and so on, for the whole public service, again, requesting your personal information. Now, that information cannot be shared unless you get the consent of the person. So what will you do? I ask again, if all these people are going to be blocked from working, what will happen in the sector? And coming again, talking about this Attorney General, I didn't plan to talk so much about him, but it's just too much. It is too much. The most corrupt, some people said, but I will say the most incompetent Attorney General we've ever had. So here he is at the center again. You know, there is a series of books written by a very brilliant writer. His name is John Grisham. And he writes a lot of legal novels. And he has one called the Pelican Brief. So we have our own Pelican Brief in Trinidad and Tobago with the, what is it? Pelican Ocean, Ocean Pelican. Ocean Pelican. Ocean Pelican. Who is at the center of this fiasco again? None other than Faris Al-Rukusa. He called a station to speak to the investigating officer. Has he denied that? It is reported that he called and they put the phone on speakerphone and they attempted to now deny this. That's why, you know, I saw Senator Mark and hey, get the phone records. Simple, simple, simple. See who called who and who didn't call who. You could prove that in a snap. Call the station. Call Jacob, DCP Jacob. So now acting commissioner. Call DCP Erla Christopher. As if the Attorney General calling police. Are we in a police state? Are we on a Gestapo? Are we in a Nazi state? Authoritarian, dictatorial state. You could call police. You could say what you want about Anand Ramlogan. I never had cause or reason to upbraid him for calling police to tell him how to do their job. You don't do that. Those are two separate arms of the state, the politicians and the TTPS, which has a job in the law under the Constitution, not to take sides, not to be told by any politician what to do, who to call, don't call, what to do. What is the AG doing calling these people? Is he telling them, hey, nothing is wrong with that Pelican boat and thing? Nothing was wrong, nothing in breach of the law. The AG is not the person to advise the TTPS. There's a constitutional independent office. You need legal advice, you go to the DPP. Independent office, you go to the DPP. You know, I wrote to DCP Jacob, raising the issue about a transfer of a Porsche from Faris to a fellow named Kewal Singh. Kewal Singh was at the time a member of the Police Service Commission. The transfer, no disclosure of that transfer, either in his integrity forms, Faris, no disclosure according to law as to the process how it's to be done. And then Faris tells us he authorized somebody. In the law, no, you can't authorize nobody to go and transfer no vehicle. And you know, DCP, I wrote that letter since last year, October. I got a response a couple of days ago. And in that response, they're asking me, well, who is this person authorized? They want to know where to find the person. And really? It is the Attorney General who named this person as the one he authorized. Go ask him. What you ask, do you want me to find? What, I had to get FBI, CIA, private detective to go track down her address and her phone number, whatever. Ask the AG. Ask the AG. Who is this person that you authorize? You get information from her. He's reported in a newspaper saying that. Then there's so many issues with that car transfer, not done according to process. Not done, not declared in integrity form. The check that they finally produced when the story bust, as they say, when the mark bust, not Wade Mark, by the way, when the mark bust, then they produce a check. But when you check the check, I know every time you put a check to go in the bank and cash it, the check is stamped. There's a bank stamp at that time. The bank had you can't just write a check, somebody and cash it. So the check was never cashed, that's the point. Then you have stories about the dates. One, they say, well, Faris said, look, in this year we transferred this date, then the check cover different. Look, it's pure commerce. Pure make-up lies again from the man who should be the defender of the public interest in Trinidad and Tobago. So the man is a total embarrassment for an AG. He gets away with all kind of despicable behavior. And I can mention some others. Saddam MP raised some of them. Mentioned the gun-toting children. What has become of that? There was an investigation. What has happened? Did Faris call some policeman and say, boy, drop that? Did he make a phone call again? What has happened with that investigation? And I want you to remember how serious this is. A person who was involved in that investigation was found dead. Do you all remember that? A person, an officer of the state, was found dead. I'm not going to call his name, but you all know it in the reports. What has happened with that investigation? What about the withdrawal by this same scamp known as Faris Al-Rawi AG? The claim against Malcolm Jones and Ken Julian. As soon as that man became AG, that was amongst his first things that he did. He withdrew the claim. Millions of dollars scampered away, taken out of the treasury, case filed when we were there. They withdrew the case. Up to today, no plausible explanation as to why. I'll come back to you again, Rowley and Faris. When we get back into government, all of these matters will be fully investigated. We will ensure that. Come into the fake oil, the bestie of the Prime Minister. Matter went to arbitration. Why did the government, why did Faris, why did the successor company, why did they not file in the court to set aside the arbitration? They were advised to do that by their own senior counsel, not by Anand Ramlogan, not by me, not by anybody, but by the senior counsel they had hired. They failed to file. Again, that is another matter that will be fully investigated when we get into government. We have the AG himself breaching the public health regulations. This fellow have no shame in truth, you know. He talk about Farley and Watson Duke and conflict of interest. Who has the most conflict of interest than Farris? Running a cabinet like it's a cabal, running like a cartel, banditry, way Marx calls it. How many times you recuse yourself from cabinet because you were conflicted? You had a conflict. I think it's about 48 times. 48 times, you know. Man. Can you imagine an Attorney General recusing himself about 48 times from the cabinet? Why? Conflict of interest. Why conflict of interest? Because he and or his family stand to benefit from whatever discussion was taking and is taking place before the cabinet. Farris, you have no shame. None. You have no authority, moral, legal, or otherwise, to talk about conflict of interest. You are one of the most conflicted ministers of government in the cabinet of Keith Rowley. You should have nothing to say about conflict of interest. And then we have him now, the rentals. One, we keep talking about 23 million in rentals, but it's plenty more than that. There's 6, 7, or 8 properties this fellow renting to the government, you know. Well, you can't buy flour and you can't buy chicken and you can't buy this, that, prices going up. These fellas laughing all the way to the bank and pontificating and coming to buff you and tell you do this and do that and do the other, buffing up Watson, buffing up Farley, conflict of interest. You are the most conflicted AG this country has ever had, Farris. I talked to you about a Pelican brief. Did you speak with the man, the son of your colleague minister? He's saying he did speak with you and you gave him legal advice. Did that happen? You have not answered that clearly. Or maybe he lied again because he said it didn't happen. But this man lies so much, as Salam shared with us. And look, think about an attorney general engaging in something that could amount, I'm not saying it does, to witness bribery. Engaging in a secret agreement with Queen's Counsel Nelson. Don't forget these things, you know. He made a secret agreement that he will not tell anybody about the man taxes. He will not tell anybody about anything about this man. And if anything comes up, the state is to take liability. The state, if should any matter come up against Nelson, who is the state? You, the taxpayers, they will pay and pay the bill. Well, far as more things coming from that, we'll talk it another time. But you have a lot of questions to answer for that secret deal you signed with QC Nelson. Because I am told a lot of things are happening behind the scenes. I'm told you went up to England, you carry a team of lawyers, you had to tell us what you went for, what you were trying to get out of, what it is you went up there, with whom did you go, and what it is your breaks in from that you went up to England. Tell us. I'm not accusing you to come and tell me, well, listen, you know, when we go to England, we like to buy robes and neckbands. Lawyers love to buy these things in England. You know where those things, not well, he doesn't deserve to wear them anymore, Saddam. Or what else ever that you went to England for. I know they're very famous for can of biscuits. My sister brought it for me. It's called some kind of Yardley Street or something. They have little toffees and so on. What you went there for? Tell us. That's the point. Why did you go on taxpayers' dollars? Whom did you take with you? And for what purpose? Tell the country, Farris. We deserve to know because we as taxpayers paid for it. And then we talked about the car already. So, you see, why is it the Prime Minister seems to be backing Farris 1,000%? Why is the Prime Minister saying nothing about this Farrisal recusal, Farrisal rent and nothing? Is the Prime Minister afraid of Farris? Is it possible that Farris has some kind of information? Something to say holding things on him? Why is the Prime Minister afraid to speak out? And I'm seeing the latest thing here now with the two recusal twins, the twins, Farris and Stuart. Wade spoke about the recusals with Stuart Young. I see like Farris bring one piece of law about fireworks, and I see like Stuart Young saying something else. And somebody today came now and said they're supporting Stuart. Gonzales, what's going on in our cabinet? It's either a cabinet decision or not. If a bill is drafted, it never reaches or should never reach to the parliament unless the cabinet approves. So Faris, did the cabinet approve it? Who knows? Stuart, you were not in cabinet. Maybe that's one day he recused himself. Maybe he had recused and he wasn't there. Maybe the other guy, Gonzalez, he recused too. So is there a battle between Faris and Stuart and whoever else? You know, strange state of play going on in that cabinet. And can I say, whilst they've presided, this AG has presided over so much bad decisions, bad law, losing cases and so on. Well, the Minister of National Security has presided over something I have never seen happen. If it did, remind me when. Where under this Minister of National Security, somebody go and rob a police station. Can you imagine? Some bandit went and robbed a police station of some, I think you told me it's a high-powered, well, like these fellas are thinking with them big gun, eh? You had the gun-toting children, then this, and then Rowley forever investigating who get gun license, didn't. By the way, what has become of that? I am told that the person was a Stanley John, who you asked to investigate. I am told his report has come in. Why are you hiding that report to? What's in it or not in it? What is it that the country will find out that you were on a wild goose chase, and not just wild goose, you were out there to victimize Gary Griffith, you were there to sink Gary Griffith, so you commissioned this thing and now you can't come and tell the country, again using taxpayers' dollars, what does the report say, Prime Minister? Please tell us. So these are some of the issues with the AG, and the issues with almost every minister in that cabinet. As I've said before, it's like they're running a whole cartel. It's like a business conglomerate, conspiracy, to do what? To make money, while the rest of the population is suffering from the high cost of living, and now you want to send home some of them with no pay. And in the case of the Prime Minister himself, as I said, don't forget the fake oil matter. I want to remind you, Prime Minister, people have not forgotten, you know, they might be quiet for a while, but they have not forgotten. And that is something, again, as I said, we will fully investigate. INSGate, did you raise? No reply. The man never even declared it in his integrity form. Those discounts he got for these townhouses. So not only does he have to account why you pay less than everybody else, he also has to account for why he didn't file it in his integrity form. And he come with plain smart with foolishness about A form and B form. Man, the law is you must file it in your B form, which is the one open to the public, and you never put that information there. And by the way, it's not only the INSGate he didn't put there. Several others which we'll share with you. There's several other properties. Rowley Boy, since he come in this job, you'll be shocked to see from what he had to how many properties he now has. And when he leaked his own Form A, properties amounting to what is about $14 million. That was on the Form A that he leaked. So that's another whole story, how that came about, when, how, what, and why, and where. So I spoke about several other matters last year. My colleagues have prosecuted well. Can I thank, first of all, Dr. Gopi Singh for his brilliant contribution tonight. I want to thank Saddam Hussein MP, again, for sharing with us brilliantly. Chief Whip David Lee, thank you so much. Senator Wade Mark as well for expounding on these matters. And let me thank our two chairpersons, our Councillor Ramona Victor from the Sapara Corporation, and of course our very own attorney at law, Brian Bake. Thank you all. And for all those of you sitting here with us, the whole technical team, Chairman is here with us tonight. I thank you, and all the technical team, PRO, all of you are here. Let me just spend a few minutes before I close on this rise in cost of food, because you see that is linked to the latest Trinidad and Tobago economic update. This is the Central Bank Monetary Policy Announcement, December 31st, 2022, and this was put out on the 2nd of January, 2022. So what we see from this now, food prices increase and other prices, there's contraction in consumer lending. What does it mean? People not borrowing, they don't have money to pay back. We have food inflation surged. This is coming from the government's own monetary report. Food inflation surged. There's a 12.6% increase in building material prices. There's supply chain issues, and the Business Chamber says businesses are crippled, and not to mention the amount of businesses that have closed down and the amount of people out of work. So all of that is coming out of the government's own document, the Central Bank Monetary Policy Announcement, December 31, 2022. So back to this rise in food price issue. That is an assault on your rights, democratic and religious rights. Soon you will have to start skipping meals to save money. It's now $17, I'm told, for a loaf of bread. Maybe it's more since I last read it. Chicken, wait till it's gone up. Flour, bread, milk, sugar, oil, meat, rice. And I just said building materials. Everything is going up. Before Christmas, I had begged the government to remove VAT on all essential food items. When I was there as Prime Minister, we did it. It didn't hit the tax base too much. We were able to sustain it. It wasn't a burden, and we were able to help thousands of families. But again, they refused to listen, as you know. He would rather starve the nation than put a UNC policy to feed the nation. And whilst I'm on this now, they have disbanded the food card program. They're looking for fraud and whatever. But that's a good excuse just to shut it down. And the second thing I'm told, they've disbanded the food hampers. That's with the fresh produce. That has also been disbanded. So how do you expect people to eat and live, Prime Minister? Now, when we thought they couldn't go lower, once again, they have surpassed all expectations. The old saying goes, Rowley, they've gone lower than the white line on the road. They have cancelled all the food support for needy citizens. They claim this is interim, as I said, designed to manage expenditure and to collate and review information to support the program, but that's a lie. That's another lie. What they did, they maxed out all the allocations for these things when? In Tobago for the elections. And we will file those questions, and we will get answers. We'll do the freedom of information. How much they spent on all these grants that they gave out in Tobago, it was like madness, freeness. And all that mad freeness didn't help them. They got wiped out, scraped off the mat in Tobago. Thanks to the PDP, who did a great job in Tobago in wiping out the PNM off the face of the map of Tobago. And so, after elections, money, they'll be waiting to bring some supplementary variation to increase votes and so on. But they can't do it now because they maxed out the overdraft. You know, they accuse us of maxing out overdraft. That was a lie too. They maxed out the overdraft. They maxed out the loans that they can take. All they do is borrow and spend. No sustainable development. Up to now, not one plan for sustainable development. Not one plan to grow revenue. Nothing. Property tax, that's not going to happen, but I'm sorry for you. It's not going to happen. You frighten people every month, and every month you extend the deadline to put in the forms. People are not stupid, you know. You cannot do it, Imbert. And if you do, we will reverse it. We will remove the dreaded property tax if you move to do it. Revenue Authority, you'll bring it and pass it with a simple majority. Simple majority, again, doctoring and tampering and gerrymandering our constitution. Simple majority, you will not get through with that either. You will not. Bad law again. So, look at the stories. On the one hand, ordinary people suffering. They want to take away your pay. Food prices increasing daily. And as I said, they're laughing all the way to the bank, collecting their big rentals, their contracts. One day we'll share with you the 210, you know. And by the way, the Prime Minister also recused himself from the cabinet. We still have to get details, which we'll share with you. Why did the Prime Minister find it necessary to recuse himself? What was his conflict of interest? What was it about? We have to delve down into that and seek information. I cannot not speak tonight without talking a bit about the discrimination against open fire cremations, against the failure to open up the ponds and streams and rivers and so on, which is affecting the Hindus, but is also affecting spiritual Baptists. Somebody told me today, well, I'm hit on both sides because I'm a Hindu, and as you know, I'm part of the Baptist faith. So I see that our former AG, Anna Ramlogan, has filed a pre-action letter on behalf of a spiritual Baptist person, on behalf of a Hindu person. And this is a very serious matter. Because where you could have an open fire cremation at minimum cost, I am told now that people have to pay $30,000 and $40,000 to go in a funeral home, where funeral homes never had it so good. Making real money. And that's not only part of it, the cost of it. for families. The other aspect of it has to do with how long they're keeping the bodies. Because you have a limited number of crematoriums in these funeral homes, and therefore you have to book a date now. You have to make an appointment. So sometimes the families, their loved one has passed. You have to pay as well to keep them there. To keep them there over time before you get an appointment for the cremation. And there is nothing. The WHO, they're lying because the WHO says no announcement, they have nothing about open fire cremations, absolutely. Spreading COVID, none. But the government wants to tell us, WHO say, hey, you can't do it, lie again. Where's the science? Are you following the science? Are you, once again, victimizing people of the country? Can you imagine poor families having to pay $30,000 and $40,000, man? You already have the stress and the trauma, you lost a loved one. Then you can't get the body for a week, 2 weeks. And then on top of that, the cost. This is discrimination. Open, clear, and square discrimination. And I'm glad that Anne and Ram Logan is proceeding to take court action. So this government, they will not listen and they will not try to help. They will wait till they go to court, which takes time. So in the meantime, they feel they're getting away with it. And people are suffering whilst they feel they're getting away. Only through the courts that you can do it. If you're a friend of finance of the PNM, you want a loophole in the COVID rules, all you have to do is do what? Call Faris. The minister's son, hey, listen, I want to run a party boat, FET and so on. What to do? Look for loopholes. You can do that, and yet we have thousands of people who are suffering because of your discrimination against that community. So there's one rule for them and another rule for another. But this is a matter, it really breaks my heart, because I do know the suffering. We see it all the time. Our constituents, a lot of them, are going through this discrimination. And I'll tell you something. How can we, all I can say is, Faris, have a heart. Or if you lost it, try and find it back now. Try and find it back. Why do you have this ban on open cremations? Why? We have been doing that from day one since whenever it was, from the 1800s, when Hindus have been coming to our land. And it's not only Hindus who use open fire cremations. Remember that. So whilst you're discriminating against one religious group, there are others who are impacted as well, because if they had to go and pay $30,000, $40,000, man, that is discrimination of the highest order, Faris. And therefore, again, we have the court matter pending, blah, blah, blah. Deal with it. Don't wait to go to court and take 2 and 3 years. You know how many people will be suffering? How many people are being discriminated against? How many families? Please rethink your policy on that. And then now, you have a government who is always totally against democracy. The PNM has always been against democracy. And that brings me to the good news, in one sense, of the final declaration by this government of the by-election for the Davis South Electoral District. That councillor died 14th of February last year. Nearly a year later, in February, not in February, nearly a year later, well, the election is to be in February. So they have had no councillor and will not have until February, when that election is called, a representative at the level of the councillor. So we are happy to get it, but I tell you, we had to, as I say, you had to push and pull them, kicking and screaming to announce that day. They have a history of not adhering to democratic principles when it comes to local election. I wrote to them last year. I wrote a pre-action letter to them last year, demanding they call the election. You know what I write back and say? Well, we can't do an election because of COVID. You hear lie? That is lie. You held a general election in the middle of the pandemic in August 2020. You had 2 THA elections, but when it comes to Davis South, well, we can't do it, because of protocol and COVID. Lies. Lies again. Lies. And the electorate there is very small. Tobago had more people to vote than this little local government seat will ever have. But, The only reason they did it because illegal action has been initiated. The case has actually been filed now. The case is still in court. And all their lies and stories they're making up, they will get, say, licks like fire, licks like peace. Faris, another one you're going to lose in the courthouse is about this, this Davis South by-election. So, why do we have to threaten the government before you can get basic rights? Why? Why do you all run a government like that? That's all you're doing. Should it not be the government's role to protect the rights of all? How many more times must the UNC have to pick you to court pre-action letter and so on? To knock down and lick down the bad laws you keep bringing and the bad decisions you're making. Laws infringing constitutional rights. If Faris had to personally pay the costs for the multiple losses he has suffered, and when he's paying those, when he loses, who pays? You. Taxpayers have to pay. If Faris had to personally pay that, he might have taken different positions from time to time. And it's not the first time. When there was a council who had died in the Barataria seat, local government, a couple of years back, I had to write again, I had to send a pre-action letter, lawyer letter, to force them to call the election. It is this PNM government who held no local elections from 2003 till never. It's only when I went into office in 2010 we called a local election. They have never honored local government representation and democracy. So from 2003 to 10, almost 7 years, they refused to call a local election. And this was not for a by-election, this was a whole shebang. All the seats for local government due statutorily due by law. Every year, the then PNN government, they come to Parliament, they extend a year, extend a year, extend a year. From 2003 down until, as I said, when we went in, soon after the general election in May 2010, I called the local election in I think it was July of that same 2010. And every year we've been there, we have adhered to the democratic principles, we have called them. And here again, we had to pull them kicking and screaming, send matter to court to get them to call this by-election. So Rowley, you get wiped out in Tobago. You're going to get wiped out in Davis South. It's licks like fire, licks like peace. The UNC will win that seat. We are campaigning. We opened up nominations. We received nominations. Next week, the party will begin the screening process. Monday, the 17th is nomination day. We will have a candidate in place. But already, UNC teams are on the ground, interacting, seeking advice and opinions from the electorate in that seat as to how best we can service that Davis South seat. So I look forward to that by-election. And I warn you, do not get distracted by the by-election. So they call by-election, you know, all the time you're fighting, screaming, you don't want to do it. You name the date, you think we're going to get distracted with the by-election. We are going to win it. And therefore, we will stay focused on the issues. We will continue to report to you from time to time, in addition to the usual Monday night report and our Sunday press briefings. We want to reinstitute a Wednesday night report, so we'll have those as well, because, you know, media is good and media is not so good sometimes, so they don't report everything, but the social media is a tremendous medium to share our thoughts and ideas with you. So we'll have a Monday virtuals, Wednesday virtuals, and the Sunday press briefings to keep you updated as we move forward. As I said at the start, this is a year of change. Saddam used the word winds of change blowing. Well, it's been blowing from Charlottesville in Tobago. It's blowing across Trinidad, all over Trinidad, all the way to Cetra. So Trinidad, wake up. Tobago, wipe out, as I said, Rowley and the PNM off the map. People in Trinidad, let us do the same. Let us wipe Rowley and the PNM off the Trinidad map. Let us take back our country, take back our government. In this year, this is a year when this corrupt and oppressive government, led by Rowley, is finally held to account for their misdeeds and misconduct in public office. And you know, AG, by the way, watch out. it may very well be you are going to be investigated and thereafter charged for several counts of misconduct in public office. It's more than one now, it's too many, it's just too many. Misconduct in public office. So let us, as I close here, say, look, my friends, all of us, 2022 is a year of hope. We must never forget that. Whilst we complain about all the ills and whilst we make suggestions, this is a year of hope. There are many challenges. We need to reset our economy. We need to put our economy on the right path. We need to reboot our once proud energy sector. We must put our people back to work. We need to plan for changes happening worldwide and prepare our children for opportunities in an ever-changing world. And of course, we really need to deal with the public health sector. That sector is dead, just like the over 3,000 persons who died. Health and safety. We have a government that has no clear policy. The only policy they have is to promote fear and intimidation, make you frightened and intimidate you. The UNC has always rebuilt our nation after the PNM destroys it. We will do it again. This time, we will build back our nation better than ever. And whilst we have several plans we've shared many times, we'll continue to share our plans and our initiatives as we go forward. But I want to give you the assurance tonight that when, not if, when the UNC forms the government again, we will hold every one of them to account, transparency. And investigations will be done. When necessary, commissions of inquiry will be done. I mentioned the arbitration matter. I mentioned the gun-toting children, the Pelican Brief. There's so many of them. And all these recusals, we will have full investigations into those matters. So if you think you'll get away today, what they say, rope something longer than twine. Time is longer than twine. We will come for you, and if you have misconducted yourself in public office, then you will have to pay the full cost of such misconduct. I thank you all very much again. I thank you for joining us, sharing with us. As I say, I always enjoy speaking with you. Give me the inspiration to keep going, keep struggling, keep fighting. All of us. You are our inspiration. You are our hope. You are our strength. And as I always tell you, and I remind you as we start this new year, you would have had other leaders before me. You will have other leaders after me. But you will never, ever have a leader who loves you as much as I do. May God bless you, and I thank you all very much.
The voice of the people is the voice of God. The tables are turning, your eyes are opening. Welcome to
New 97.5. Make it your choice. Something for everyone. 97.5 FM. Music for you. It's all about you.
New 97.5 FM, Hot Like Pepper, Multicultural Radio.
Power to the listeners.
Island Hobbies, Ryson Road, Port of Spain, has the largest variety of toys in the Caribbean and South America. No one can beat our prices. If you see it cheaper anywhere else, prove it and we will beat it. We're open every day till late, Sunday to Sunday, even on Christmas Eve till 11 p.m. Island Hobbies, Ryson Road, Port of Spain. Even Santa buys toys from us.
Toys.
My parents' generation grew up with Royal Castle. From the first restaurant in 1968, when that distinctive, tempting aroma hit the air, they just couldn't